RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
What's up? Looking dark in here. All right, what is it? Hey, it's just a show in somebody's house. If you want to have a real studio, you have to be a conservative. You have to have deep pockets funded by billionaires who want to turn this country into the kind of oligarchy that Russia is, and that's what's going on. And we're going to talk about it. We'll talk about I'm really blown away, even though I know that Republicans are the domestic enemies the founders warned us about. It's still shocking. I'm just going to make this light a little lighter so we can see better. No, maybe it looks better. Look, this is better. No, that's better. That's better. Yeah, I have a new shirt. Fascism equals death. It would be great if my website was up. The Tarabuster website is down. This is a drama that keeps going on, and I have high blood pressure already. So my blood pressure's through the roof dealing with this shit. So, yeah. It really sucks. I thought GoDaddy sucked, and then I signed up for HostGator, and they were supposed to migrate the site. And I'll give you the brief background. A month ago, I have a month left on the GoDaddy account. I have other websites there and whatnot, but I just didn't want to. I was sick of GoDaddy, and because Republican Dirty Tricks has been killed by Facebook, I wasn't going to pay a lot of money to keep it up, and it was a lot of money, and that's why one day, I don't know, I guess, hopefully I'll drop dead of a heart attack, and I won't have to worry about retirement, because I'll probably be on the street with a sign saying, I had a liberal website, can you spare a dime? So, yeah, whatever. And so what happened? I wanted to switch to this new host because I was sick of GoDaddy. And I could tell you stories about them, too. Like one time I called up to get customer service about the site. And they were like, what's your website? And I said, RepublicanDirtyTricks.com. And the guy actually said, what about Democrat Dirty Tricks? Can you believe that shit? And then I got into it with this fucking idiot on the phone. What about Democrat? Democrat, of course. So thereby annoying me on many levels. But who the fuck are these? These people have no boundaries. Do you know what I mean? They're children. They can't contain themselves, and they hate America. So, and they're on the loose with not just a tax cheating, draft dodging, dictator wannabe, suckling dictator scumbag, with all the fake, the scams, the fake universe. That's how much he loves you, right? He made so many scams for the dupes to fall into, and now they have the greatest scam going, which is the money in politics. They love it. It's like a fat parasite sucking on. It's like a tick, just sucking on some endless font of money that comes from everybody else's pockets and goes into the pockets of these filthy fascist pricks destroying the country. I don't know. Have I explained it succinctly enough? So, yeah, so that's what happened. And so I wanted to move to HostGator, and then, so they were supposed to migrate it. It was going to take a month. Well, I mean, it was a month ago. We had a month. No, it wasn't going to take a month. It was a month cutoff. So I said, okay, migrate this site. That was part of the deal. You know what I mean? You move your website, they'll migrate it for you, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, okay, here it is. Migrate this. And then I go back about my business. And a couple of days later, I noticed they sent me another email. Oh, can you delete some backup files? Okay, boom, deleted them. They're deleted. 4 days later, oh, not those files, these files. And then with the screenshot, I was like, you could have given me the friggin' screenshot originally, right? Then they, all right, here, deleted. Okay, great. Go for it. 5 days later, I get a question, like stupid fucking questions that they could have just contained in one goddamn email every 5 days. And I'm like saying to them, the time is ticking down, mother effers. Do this now. Now we're in the home stretch. And then I think they're doing it, and I get another email 4 days later or 5 days later, and it said, do you want all the files moved? I mean, fuck you. Yes. Do it. So, not to scream in your ear, that's why I moved a little. Then the last email I got was, we can't get into the site anymore. What's the password? Because they shut it down. After, it was cut off because I didn't pay the bill, because I'm not going to pay 2 bills, especially for that, because it was a lot more money. And I don't even want to say, it was like fucking $2,000 to keep Republican Dirty Tricks hosting up. You know what I mean? That came out of my pocket. I don't care. Why am I complaining? I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it all. Look at me. I'm sick of it. I have high blood pressure, but you're here. This is therapy for the resistance. I hope it doesn't sound too bad. Sounding a little crackly in my ears, but you can tell me. My producers can tell me. The producers in the chat, which I thank you so much already right out of the gate. And thank you for letting me share and get that off my chest. Because the thing is, I don't like to hide things. Maybe I should stop sharing too much information. You don't need, but maybe, I don't know. I guess maybe you need to know. It is annoying doing this. You're constantly running up against obstacles. And the thing is, I'm doing it so maybe we have a shot at having a democracy and having a country that works for all. That's really what it's about. I don't know what it's about for you. I know what it's about for Tucker Carlson and the stupidest man in media, Sean Hannity. I didn't give him that moniker. His peers did. These people are dumb. That's what makes them susceptible to all kinds of nefarious shit, like being bribed, being dumb enough to just say what I tell you to say. Here's some money, you fucking fuckers. And they have the fact that somebody like James O'Keefe has access. He was one of the assholes texting with the White House staff on the day of the insurrection. That underwhelming moron. He's not treasonous. He's a convicted felon. This is not journalism, you fucker. He went in, he bugged the office of a senator or congressperson, and all. This is what they do. That they make shit up. They selectively edit things. That's what James O'Keefe does. He runs hit pieces on people. He takes things out of They always talk about how everybody's, taking them out of context and that they're kidding whenever they're caught being. They get a backlash for being the bunch of traitors they are. Oh, I was joking. Yeah, what a fucking knee slapper, dude. And James O'Keefe, he is just a scumbag who is being paid by the rich, by billionaires and the fucking Mercer family and the all the the Koch brothers, all of those well-funded. Well, they are well-funded. All of those billionaires who fund. They're basically seeding the ground for fascism. They don't give a shit. That's why they're praising Putin. Did you ever think we would see the day where an entire Republican Party is siding with an autocrat? A fucking dictator. All of the autocrats, by the way. Not just Putin. But Putin as if he's some kind of genius. When he's a tyrant. And they're calling Zelensky a tyrant. Zelensky is the, I believe, 6th or 7th democratically elected leader of Ukraine. They're tamping down. He's the first one that that was elected. Of course, you know his history. He was a comedian. There was a TV show about him where he played the president. And then there were a bunch of other actors, in fact, that he's putting these people in his cabinet. So we can say he's way over his head, but there you go. That's what happens when you have, that's media for you. That's why the liberal media struggles. And that's why we're here on the brink of a fascist takeover. And these fuckers are running around like without shame. They don't have the shame anymore. They're emboldened by the con man, emboldened by the media. They're lying propaganda media. That's what it is. All right, whatever. All right, guys. Oh, thank you, Richard W., for your super chat right out of the gate. Another great show, Tara. Thank you. Thank you, JD, for your super chat. Hello, people. Hello, JD. Nice to see you. And thank you, Mark C., for your super chat. A republic if you can keep it. Absolutely. Benjamin Franklin. Says Mark, to remind us all of how we're standing on a precipice. All right. Let me calm down. If you can become a patron, please do. Patreon.com/ that will be on my tombstone. All right. Patreon.com/Tara Devlin. If you want a republic, if you can keep it, that's what we need. The media. We need the message. We need to own the message. And the reason we're in this boat is because we are being inundated with some media. You have the fascist media that's lying to people outright, telling them that Tuckyorose is saying that Zelensky is a tyrant. It's two tyrants. When Zelensky was democratically elected, and the thing about Ukraine is that they were offered they wanted to, or whatever, I'm not sure the whole they wanted to or want to be a part of NATO, but they gave up their nuclear weapons in return for a closer relationship with the West. And I think that the NATO countries were keeping them at arm's length because of the fucking tyrant Putin. And they didn't want to, I guess, annoy him or whatever. But the thing is, he's not a president. It drives me insane. Words matter. They do. That's why we say, when somebody says, call me this or call me that, it matters. It matters. So to call Putin a president when he is nothing but a self-appointed king, that's what he is. And he runs an oligarchy, a very tightly knit oligarchy. He gets to pick and choose who gets to be rich. So there's no middle class. We have our middle class is headed in that direction too, because we don't have a middle class majority anymore. The middle class is below 50% of the population. We know that. The American people, 80% live check to check. Why, if only the corporate media spent the time that they are spending now with Ukraine. And of course, yes, it's a global crisis. But I keep imagining what a different world it would be if they had that much focus on things that actually affected the lives of the American people, like when the middle class slipped below 50% of the population. Why didn't they have wall-to-wall coverage on it and get the pundits in and everybody talking about how dangerous and awful, and then you could send whoever out there in the field with their helmets on, interviewing people and discussing how dangerous this is, that we cannot have a republic, a democratic republic, without an economically vibrant middle-class majority. It's simple, but you get it. The world is now leaning towards, it's more than a lean, but we're headed back in the direction of autocracy. And I won't, if I had a time machine and we could travel into the future, I would not be surprised to see intergenerational monarchies and aristocracies all over the world again. All over the fucking world for thousands of years. That's how Western civilization was ruled. And we're headed in that direction. The billionaires like that. Of course they do. They don't have to pay taxes. And everybody else scrounges out here for the scraps, fighting amongst each other and awaiting their rewards in heaven. It's a game. It's a goddamn game. It's funny, though. The nefarious assholes, the fascists, the Republicans, how they see conspiracies and tyrants everywhere, except when they're looking in the mirror. This is the game. They're the tyrants. Trump is a fucking traitor. A traitor who's still spreading lies with the help of one of the major political parties in this country. They're all wedded to the lies. The big lies, the little lies, and every other lie in between. And you guys know, this is probably why I have high blood pressure, besides everything else, that it drives me insane that the corporate media just reports, they'll talk about how the fascists are spreading lies, how the con man is out there, and then they'll go right into a story about how will the con man be the Republican candidate in 2024? Like, fucking, are you kidding me? Will the Republicans take over the House and the Senate? Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a bloodbath for the Democrats. Honey, the bloodbath is for all of us. It's not the Democrats who are going to lose. It's every single American. Whoever thought that a democracy was our birthright, that's who's going to lose. That's the way they should cover it. This is a 4-alarm fire, and they wax and wane between, this is an existential crisis to who's up in the fucking polls? Well, I wonder why, because we have one media, half of the media apparatus run by the billionaires, they all are, telling the morons that up is down, that black is white, the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, and these fuckers believe it. And then we have the other billionaire-funded media apparatus telling us that, lulling us back into a sense of security, because that's what's going to happen. That will happen if the filthy fascists are successful in their coup. Trust me, when they start, arresting the January 6th committee and putting everybody on trial, they'll cover it like it's another day in democratic America, as if this is normal, as if this is democracy, just like they cover this fucking Supreme Court, the illegitimate Supreme Court, and Mitch McConnell, the gravedigger of American democracy. What is wrong with them? I guess people, we have habits. It's easy to fall into those habits, and they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them. That's what it comes down to. These millionaires are paid very well to lull people into a sense of security. It's what goes on in Russia with Russia state television. That's what they do. They are working overtime in Russian state TV, setting up this pretext as if Ukraine is they're doing it for peace. It's Hitler all over again. It is. That's what Hitler did. Oh, we have to go into Poland because there are German people in Poland, there were German speakers. Well, first it was Austria and Poland, everywhere, and then Czechoslovakia sliced up under the same pretext, where they're recognizing these Russian speakers, that they're part of Russia. Like, fuck you. You can't, if an autocrat could just say, violate borders of a country that they don't want them, then you know what? Take the Republicans, please. Just take them already. Declare wherever the hell these scumbags want to call their home, declare that part of the Russian state. May as well be. They're working for them. They want an oligarchy. They have a media mouthpiece apparatus that is working as hard as it can, but it doesn't have to work that hard because the whole goddamn right wing is filled with goddamn traitors. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Did you ever think you'd live to see such outright traitors? Let's begin with, I'll just play a clip of Tuckyorose. And there's so much other shit going on. I can't even breathe. So maybe, I don't know. We're losing pay. It's very frustrating. But whatever. I don't care. I'll talk to my shrink, I guess. Who cares? Fuck it. One of these days. Maybe I'll just hit my limit. And that's what I do think about it, to tell you the truth. I'm like, is this worth it? Is my sanity worth it? Maybe I should, save my money and get the fuck out of here. And tonight's going to be a lot of cursing. Warning. Yeah, and I have to drink tea now instead of coffee. I'm telling you, when I went to the doctor, and the lady who took my blood pressure, she was like, she had the thing on the arm, squeeze, and she's like, she looks at me, double take, like, why aren't you stroked out already? And I'm like, what? She's like, your blood pressure is very high. I'm like, well, yeah, maybe I'll stroke out today. That'll be fun. Here in the United States of serfs and lords, that'll be that. That's the other thing. We have a medical problem in this country. I could have just stroked out because I only went to the doctor because I couldn't take it anymore. I wasn't feeling well. And I'm not alone. Everybody many people in this country, you got to worry. What is this? Can I take a vitamin? That's what I was doing. Oh, maybe I'll take milk thistle or fucking whatever vitamins on sale. This might help. Looking up Dr. Google. That's where we live. Oh, and we'll get to the CPAC list. Another rogues gallery of freaks and geeks and haints and taints and all kinds of greed-centered ghosts of the Gilded Age. Fascists. Open fascists. They've always been fascists, but now they're open fascists. They're really... It's no turning back now. Yeah, it's blurry. I know. The Republican Party is dead. Yes. Where did I see that on the chat? It went by. Yes. It's fascism. Well, see, that's the thing, right? You know already. I don't have to explain it to you, but take Republicanism, conservatism to its ultimate conclusion, you'll get fascism. Take the left to its extreme conclusion, you'll get communism. But nobody's calling for communism. That's why the Republicans, they fearmonger and they spread misinformation. And of course, the corporate media does their best in making people ignorant. I will never stop playing that clip of Joe Scarborough saying, taking the actual definition of socialism and making a mocking voice while saying, liberals say it's when government owns the means of production. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Just because you make a little mocking voice. But what people think it is? Yeah, I don't know. This is a mug, but other people say it's a goddamn rocket ship to fucking Mars. Doesn't matter what it is. It's what people think it is. Well, I wonder why people think it is. Government encroaching on their lives. I mean, they have been fear-mongered, and their racist funny bones have been tickled beyond recognition of anything resembling human or small d democratic. That's for sure. That's what they've done. Hold on, where the fuck is this son of a bitch? No, that's not it. Tuckyorose. I had to grab this off the screen, but I didn't output it because I didn't have enough time. You gotta live your life. You gotta feed the cats. You gotta change the litter box. You gotta argue with HostGator. You gotta, not forget to take your blood pressure meds and monitor all kinds of right-wing fascist lies. All right. And we're going to have Mark, our millennial correspondent, will call in from, because he lives in Seattle. Wait, not Seattle. I always say Seattle. Portland. He wants to talk about the mass shooting. Here's another thing. We'll talk about this. We'll get Mark in here. There was a shooting against anti-fascist protesters in Portland. And immediately, somebody was shot. And a woman, 60-year-old woman, was shot point blank in the head. 60-year-old woman on a cane. And immediately, the filthy fascists like Andy Ngo, that's the one who said he had brain damage from a milkshake. They started laughing and twisting it, saying that, it was the other way around. You know what I mean? It's up is down and left is right. And why isn't that national news? I haven't heard a peep about that. Tell me, if the mythical Antifa came down from wherever they hang out, because they certainly don't have an organization. I've been wondering where to meet. Where there's not even a Zoom call. But if the mythical Antifa that the Republicans are still saying stormed the Capitol. I heard this the other day. One of these fuckers. Oh, who was it? Was it Mark Meadows? One of them. It's so hard to keep all of them straight. But they doesn't matter who it is because they say the same lies. They get the same memo. But they were actually, was it Ted Cruz? I don't know. One of these scumbags. This is the other thing. They go on the cesspools on the right. They go on their podcast. So there'll be a podcaster like me, except they'll be well-funded, and they'll have a studio and whatnot, and they will have a producer that isn't a cat, and they will fund these people. But they'll get their politicians, Ted Cruz, all of the big name politicians will go on these dinky podcasts because they get it. They understand the message has to get out there. Without it, they got nothing. And they see democracy bleeding out. And it's because of GOP TV. There is no doubt in my mind. Owning the message is probably the most important thing that will save this country. Otherwise, we're done. There's no way to break through the lies. No fever's gonna break. I remember Obama, same thing. Oh, the fever will break. It will never break. This isn't a fever to them. This is the way they want it. This is the outcome that they've been working towards. destroying democracy. They've been trying to destroy democracy since the founders declared independence. They are they're the loyalists. Frankly, if England wants to take us back, I'll go. Let's go. But that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about an intergenerational aristocracy and wealth, concentrated wealth, passed among their undeserving heirs, where nobody has any power to do anything about it. You can't tax them, you can't pester them, but they, conversely, will suck you fucking dry like a host, like a parasite sucks a host and discards your husk, like it was for human beings for thousands of years. You had a small pool of rich, wealthy scumbags, whether they were fit or unfit. Usually it starts out with somebody like Augustus, right, who has some capabilities, though a tyrant, of course, and not anybody that had any really interest in a republic, wanted to have the trappings of a republic. They didn't call them emperors, they called them princeps. Like, that's where we get our name prince from, you know. First citizen, first among equals. That's what they called them, but they were tyrants, just like calling Putin president. That's what they're doing. They're rebuilding the system that the founders overthrew. That democracies all over the world, that so many human beings, young people, are dead because they sacrificed their lives to entrust it to us. And the likes of Tucker Carlson and all of those ghouls, those greed-centered ghosts of the Gilded Age and worse, are basically spitting on their graves and dancing. They're dancing with the oligarchy. That's what they want. What do you think Jeff Bezos is? The whole system was set up for, it was set up over years to facilitate this outcome. All right. Hold on a second. You see, no wonder I'm going to stroke out. Hold on. What am I doing? Where's my eCam? Where am I? Who am I? What am I? That's what I should do. And then I was thinking, I'll just become, do my Buddhism and sit there and chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo and go out and rescue cats and work for animals and fuck people, because this is goddamn annoying. All right, what am I saying? Where am I? Who am I? I'm trying to find the goddamn. Oh, and thank you. My God, River. Thank you, River, for 2 super chats in a row. River. Where is it? Where's my eCam? There. Look at this. Love your soul, Tara. Never give up. Thank you, River. You keep me. I talk about it, but I'm not. I'm talking about it because I think if I didn't, I would probably just do it. You know what I mean? I would get to a point. It was sort of like what happened with Republican dirty tricks when Facebook murdered it. And we got most of the traffic to the site from the Facebook page, and over a 13 year to 15 year, I can't remember. When did I start? 2009. Yeah. So over that time, I built that page from nothing to over 150,000 people, which to me, I thought was great, because we didn't buy followers. Those were actual human beings, not like the Republicans do. That's what they do. Everything's a scam and a sham. They buy followers. They make it look like they're more popular. They have to give the class war that so-called average Joe, the supposed average Joe stamp of approval. So when Facebook shut down the page, that's it. We're done. the Republican dirty tricks was done, and I almost regretted at that. Well, I kind of do regret it. I should have just kept it as Republican dirty tricks and just kept it as my own blog, but we tried to expand it, and it it worked to a degree, but it wasn't a money-making venture. It was something that we believed in, and it was targeted. There's no doubt in my mind. It was targeted by Facebook because the name Republican Dirty Tricks, but it was when they were shutting sites down. They were shutting right-wing sites down, and they had to make it like it was, they weren't just picking on the little fascists. So they shut the Republican Dirty Tricks page down. The story is, as you probably know, I told you, because one of the people who worked on the site kept posting pictures of Nazis. Not that it wasn't pro-Nazi, but I guess the algorithm didn't know the difference. So he would post a picture of Joseph Goebbels saying...
That happened to us over the
shit.
weekend.
I hit the...
For months, we have criticized...
Fucking shut up, Tucker. You traitor. So he would post a picture of Joseph Goebbels saying, who said that? The people don't want war, but you denounce, what do? You denounce the pacifists for lack of patriotism. They tell them they're under attack. Denounce the pacifists for lack of patriotism. It works the same in every country. Was that Goebbels or... was it Hermann Goering? I can't remember. It's probably Goebbels. But anyway, so he would post a picture of Goebbels with a quote like that. It was anti-Nazi. It was like, don't be a Nazi. And then it was, boom, you got to strike. And then you got to go into Facebook jail because you posted a picture. It was anti-Nazi. And you could tell them, you could, file an appeal. Fuck that. Nobody gives a shit. You can't talk to anybody. And there's no doubt in my mind that Facebook is run by a bunch of fascist pricks. It's not about freedom. I'm so sick of that overarching bullshit umbrella theme on the right, which is, where just pour a bunch of shit out there and everybody is supposed to pick which is true. Put some, I don't know, $100,000 bars on the floor, but mix in some turds. Let people pick which is the actual delicious candy or not. They have to, everybody can judge for themselves until they all have E. coli poisoning. That's what's happening. It's not a freedom of speech, of course, but it's also responsibility. You have responsibilities. Republicans are spreading what they always do, the search for the superior moral justification for selfishness, and they're pushing this bullshit, and it's dangerous, that freedom means that you and I and the rest of the citizens of this country have absolutely no social responsibility to each other. As if it is a baby. First of all, we know it's a baby kind of worldview. It's a selfish worldview, and it's not conducive to a functioning society. If you want to act like a selfish prick and not give a shit about anybody else but yourself, go away. Go into the woods. Go on a desert island. Leave us alone. Leave the citizens, the ones capable of functioning in a civilization, to our democracy. That's why we form governments, so we have a fair playing field. So the system works for more than just our betters. Because that's why people died. It makes me sick when I go to the cemetery and I see graves of young people who died on the beaches of Normandy. Honestly, I can't even talk about it. I'll start crying again. Standing there thinking about a 22-year-old young man And it says Normandy invasion. That's all it says. Yeah, it has his name, but bigger than that, Normandy invasion. So that young man was a child when Hitler started his takeover of the Weimar Republic, and growing up and the news, probably maybe didn't even pay attention to it. But there he found himself on one of the, who knows, one of the transports on the beach. Could you imagine? It's sick. And they died for Trump? For these pricks to storm the Capitol? It's offensive. So we used to fight fascism, and now we coddle it and encourage it. The shame. Well, trust me, I do believe the likes of Tucker Carlson will eventually, he will go down in history as the sucking fascist disgrace that he is. I don't have, sometimes I have little feelings about the future. I wish I had those feelings about the lottery, but whatever. And I know that for a fact. I just hope I live long enough to see it, because it's coming. The shame, they have to be shamed. Public shaming has its place. These people have no business being in media, having a platform to spread lies. I mean, do it, but there has to be accountability, you know? Something has to give with, there has to be re-regulation of the media to protect democracy. That's what it's about. All right, hold on. Let's play this son of a bitch. Here we go.
Well, speaking of tyranny, it is a weird experience, but probably not entirely unexpected, to be denounced as unpatriotic by people who despise our country. You see that a lot all of a sudden.
We despise the country. We're just denouncing him for being unpatriotic, for being a traitor. He obviously, it's annoying him, and he has to twist it, because, but you know what he's saying, that anyone who points out that we have work to do in regard to not just rectifying our racist ass history. It's not about hating the country. It's about making sure it works. That's it. There's nothing greater. There's no more bigger love, greater love than that. Doing the hard work of looking in the mirror and saying, we are in this together. Yeah, we had a fucked up history. We were founded as a racist slave society. That's what we were. America was a slave economy. So we got to deal with that. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, there is nothing more patriotic than embracing the work of truth and reconciliation. It's required. It's absolutely necessary. But then again, if it happens, if we get to... The Republicans cannot afford for it to happen. They're losing, if that happens, they're losing one of their greatest cudgels, one of the best fissures of disunity that they can exploit for their stupid fascist victims. Tucker Carlson doesn't have viewers. He has victims. Willing victims, sure, but it's because they're racist. They're getting their biases confirmed, and they're going out there to let their freak flag fly. All right, so let's continue.
The very same politicians who claim the United States is systemically racist, a white supremacist hellscape defined by slavery.
Fuck you is my first point. The other point, he is a chicken boy heir. The murdering Swanson family, the murderer of billions of chickens, who one chicken has more value as inherently as a life than the entire Tucker Carlson family and DNA tree. Go back to wherever the fuck they came from, Neanderthals. One chicken has more inherent decency than the entire Tucker Carlson race. He's a race unto himself. He's not a human. There's something disturbed with him. But, could you imagine being born on a pile of dead chickens and money and being such a scumbag, being so inherently evil that you use your power and money and your platform, because he's another underwhelming ghoul who is resentful. That's the other thing. They can't compete on the field of anything. He failed everywhere he went. He wanted to be accepted by actual journalists. He's not one. He doesn't have the intellectual capacity. So other people who worked their way into journalists, from talent, like Jon Stewart, for example, who humiliated him on national TV when he said, he called out the game. You're hurting America, he told him, with your stupid bow tie and your stupid fucking malinformed views, spreading this bullshit. That's what he's just resentful, because the thing is they are inadequate. They know they are. They think that it's like the Julian Claudio dynasty. You know what I mean? So you had the first one who was the crafty, intelligent one, and then it got progressively more disturbed, where born on third base, thinking you hit a triple, and then next thing you know, you're making your horse the consul. Of course, that's another, of course, he did it to embarrass the Senate, and I'm talking about, who was that? Nero? Yeah. But that's who he is. He's like Nero. They get these positions because they have money. They buy their way in. They buy their way into schools that they could never get into legitimately on the merits of their talent. And then they kick down on everybody because they have evil, rotten souls. That's what it's about. It's like FDR was born on third base, but he wasn't a monster. He was a human being. Like in that book, Brian Klass's book, Corruptible. Does power corrupt, or do good people get corrupted by power, or are corruptible people attracted to power? And he says it's a little bit of both. So good people can get corrupted, of course, but some people, I think, as far as FDR is concerned, he was in the American aristocracy at a time when when I read this, his wealth in today's dollars was $25 million. That's what he inherited. That was enough to make him in the upper crust. So it comes down to, how much do you fucking need, scumbags? Does Jeff Bezos need $1 trillion? That's obscene. It's sick. It's sickening. And it's not worse than that. It sickens all of us. It sickens the entire society. And according to Tucker Carlson and the Fox News fascists, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's freedom. That's democracy. That's when you get so rich, you could step on people too. I remember having an argument on social media with somebody years and years ago before the show. And I remember him saying something about, I'm not a billionaire, because I was, of course, saying, you got to tax these fuckers. And he's like, I'm not a billionaire, although I hope to be one day. I said, shut the fuck up, you delusional twit. Really? You're not going to be a billionaire. I don't care if you drive your Uber all day and night. It's not going to happen. So, what's the meaning of this thing? What a corrupt, evil soul this scumbag has. He was born with everything. Well, when I was just talking about FDR again, he, same thing, born into wealth. They called him a traitor to his class because he said, if you Psych 101 them, because I think about Obama as compared to FDR, because in my opinion, both Obama and FDR were traitors to their class. Although Obama's class was the middle class. And I believe that he was far too, I don't want to say naive, I don't know, but far too, or maybe he was more assured of his abilities to reach people and build these coalitions, because that's what he did his whole life. He was always straddling many worlds, and he also mentioned it. He said, I'm equally comfortable in a project as I am in a boardroom with a bunch of white scumbags. Well, he didn't put it like that, and that's what he did. And I do believe that he thought he could do that to Republicans. That's why he went and he had that whole conversation with them about Obamacare and health care and what is fair and right and decent and good. And actually, okay, put those all aside. Put the fair and right and decent and good on the shelf. It is more cost effective, you fake ass business scumbag sucking fools. Right? Only in America do you pay twice as much as the next most expensive system, get nothing, get kicked out when you get sick. All the thanks Obamacare, that doesn't happen, but you can go bankrupt. Only in America do you get a catastrophic illness, and the first thing they tell you is make a GoFundMe page. And anyway, so FDR, he hung out with labor leaders in New York City. Their circle were and part of it was Eleanor Roosevelt. They were both rich, and she taught school because they weren't scums inherently. So she taught a tenement school, and FDR apparently one day was summoned to take a sick child back home, and so he carried this child to the Lower East Side of Manhattan at the time. This is before he was mayor. I'm not sure exactly the year, but it had to be like the 20s, early, and probably during the Depression. I can't remember exactly the date, but he said, I cannot believe people live in these tenements. This is abhorrent. This is inhumane. So those things opened his eyes, and hanging out with the socialists and the labor leaders and the rabble-rousers and people like, Francis Perkins, and that's why New York had the trial run of the New Deal during the Depression. It was the only state that had any kind of unemployment insurance or public relief for workers who were, who didn't have a job. So, I don't know. In my opinion, it just seems like something is rotten in these people's hearts. Because you don't have to be like that, Tucker. You don't got to be a scumbag. He knows. He must know. Unless he's just a sociopath. It kind of reminds me of, you have to be, on some level, a sociopath. You know that Trump is. I think Trump is more of he's a malignant narcissist. There's the slight differences between, as far as I understand it, is the malignant narcissists cares a bit more about what other people think of him or her. So that's Trump to a T. Whereas the psychopath, the sociopath doesn't really care. And, they just do whatever the fuck, even though there's a lot of overlap. But clearly, Trump is a malignant narcissist because he cares what some tinfoil hat wearing QAnon sucker with 3 followers says about him. I couldn't believe it when he first started trying to squat in the White House despite receiving fewer votes. I remember him going on his Twitter feed, not only looking at all his fake followers, which is another thing that we talked about on the show, because it was so annoying that the corporate media never fucking reported it. Right? They enabled the scam constantly. They never reported that. They would say Trump and his 54 million followers. No, he doesn't have 54 million followers. He must have a few million, of course, but much of those followers are fake. He's a tiny little, needy little scumbag, and he sees Obama's Twitter feed, he's got like 95 million followers, and that he couldn't handle that. So they had to buy followers. You could tell right off the bat. If I can tell, we went through the followers. They were all new and created that and weird names. They're fucking fake. But they would report it. And that's how it's enabled. That's how fascism is enabled. Why wouldn't they report the wannabe president, the asshole who wants to be the so-called president despite receiving fewer votes, is such a petty little prick that he's buying followers by the millions, and it's embarrassing. But okay, they enable. It's like when he said that with the Obama birth certificate shit, he never sent a detective or anybody to Hawaii to investigate anything. That was a lie, as we know now, because of Michael Cohen said it was a lie. He just said it, and then the media ran with it. They never check it. And then it becomes true. It's validated. So, okay, according to Tucker, the evil-hearted, soulless sociopath scumbag who can't live this blip of time. It's not enough for him to sit on a pile of dead chickens and money. He needs to pour poison into the brains of racists. He could use his platform to encourage these scumbags to stop being racist assholes and do the work on themselves to not be the kind of people that are incapable of functioning in a democracy. He could do that. But instead, he pours poison into their already empty heads and confuses them. So, Putin's a president. He's strong. He's a genius. He's the best. And Zelensky, the 6th or 7th, I can't remember, democratically elected leader of Ukraine, he's a tyrant. They're a fledgling democracy, and that's something that the fascists cannot abide. They see the blood in the water. Okay. All right. Let me go here. Let's see. I can't take it. That's why I have to stop it. It makes me want to vomit.
Our country. You see that a lot all of a sudden. The very same politicians who claim the United States is systemically racist, a white supremacist hellscape defined by slavery. In other words, an evil nation.
In other words, an evil nation? That's the history. What is wrong with you? Evil. It's like Santa Claus doesn't exist either. Neither do... And also, George Washington told a lot of lies. Don't be a child. I love the way they put on the voices. It's like what's his face did. Joe Scarborough. Yeah, socialism is, and then you have the egghead saying it's when government owns the means of production, but people think it's this other thing. So how you gonna get the message out, Dems? How you gonna get the message out when you have a media that is so wedded to the lie? It's, oh my God, and nobody ever even. They don't even comment on it. It's like, just goes out there and, okay, we all accept it. All right.
Those people are always the first to claim that you hate America if you dare to disagree with them. That happened to us over the weekekend.
Oh,
for months, we have criticized Joe Biden's lunatic push for war with Russia. Nothing about that makes makes sense.
Joe Biden's not pushing for war with Russia. It's the other way. You see how this is propaganda right out of Russian state television. There is no other reason why the Russian state TV, for this autocracy, this oligarchy that is openly hostile to democracy. Putin he says it outright. Democracy is not, it's messy. It doesn't work. There's chaos. Look at America. They point to America, and then they stir the pot. That's what they're doing, and this fucker is helping them. These guys, they're traitors. Traitors. We have fucking traitors all over the place. And they're in office, and they're running for office, and they're well funded by the traitor billionaires. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. It's so baffling why people who have everything want to destroy. For what? They want to destroy an economically vibrant and upwardly mobile working class majority. They want to destroy that, and they have. And they want to make sure that the American people are at each other's throats for hundreds more years to come. It will never end if they have their way. There will always be an enemy, and it will always be some kind of other being vilified, attacked, whether it be gays, trans, people with darker pigment, immigrants, in the nation of immigrants. Let's vilify immigrants. It's, oh my God. Okay.
It's not foreign policy, it's self-harm, and it's a lie.
Oh,
Russia is not America's greatest international rival by every measure. That is, of course, China.
China, because that's the party line for the fascists. Even though, we'll get to that. Republicans, it's just the boogeyman. They love China. Jared Kushner was selling visas to rich Chinese businessmen and women. Oh my God.
It's a lie. Russia is not America's greatest international rival by every measure. That is, of course, China. Ukraine is not our vital ally. We have no legal or moral obligation to defend Ukraine's territorial integrity, even as we surrender our own to the rest of the world.
Oh, okay. More borders, right? They're coming to get us. When the caravan's coming? I'm sure they have that in the back pocket.
Letting millions in a single year. Ukraine is not even a democracy, despite what Joe Biden endlessly claims.
It is. You're a fascist. You're a liar. And you're a scumbag. Oh, my God. Let me live to see the end of them legally and peacefully.
Ukraine is a corrupt Eastern European autocracy that has...
See, that's the thing with Ukraine. That's what Zelensky ran on. There is a corruption, a culture of corruption in Ukraine, or there was. I don't know. I'm sure there is still. For example, if you went to the Ukrainian DMV, just pulling it out of the air, you had to bribe everybody. Everything was a bribe. You had to bribe people for basic services. That's not the way it's supposed to work. And the people were sick of it. That's why they want to be Western. They don't want to deal with this shit anymore. Could you imagine everything you do? You call the cable guy or whatever you do. You got to grease their palms. Everybody has to bribe people to get things, anything, just the simplest things done. And that's what Zelensky ran on. And that's what they were trying to stop, which is why it's even more disgusting that Trump strong-armed the scumbag. The scumbag Trump strong-armed Zelensky, and that's why he was resistant, because this is what we're trying to get away from. We don't want to bribe. This is not a culture of bribery anymore. We're trying to stop this. This is what I ran against. So, could you imagine? Then you have this, the most, what is Trump supposed to be? The fucking leader of the free world? My God. No wonder we're swirling the bowl. And he's telling Zelensky, he's withholding taxpayer funds that were already voted by Congress to fund Ukraine's fledgling democracy, because we have an interest in having not autocracies all over the world. We don't want to deal with that shit. We dealt with that shit in the 20th century. And in World War II alone, 85 million human beings died. The fascism never ends well. So Zelensky, they're trying to get away from this culture of bribery and corruption in government. And here comes the chief con man, the most epic grifter who ever squatted anywhere, much less the White House. There he is, withholding taxpayer funds that Congress already designated for this fledgling democracy to protect it from Putin, our enemy, who interfered in our election, who was kicked out of the G8 for sending assassins into the specifically, and not just this one case in England where they poisoned people in a public park. So that's why they were kicked out. Because, you're supposed to be an ally and you're sending assassins into our sovereign borders and you're killing people? No, honey, that's tyranny. That's not how it's supposed to run. So we don't like it. We want more democracies out, or at least pretend one. Like ours is a fucking pretend one. Jesus Christ. Why do I have to explain this to these scums? These traitors. How do they watch him and come away thinking that they're patriots? It's shocking.
Spent millions of dollars lobbying politicians in Washington, and by the way, made Joe Biden's family rich.
Oh, okay.
Those are not Russian talking points. They are entirely true. And because they're true, no one in the administration is willing to debate or rebut them. Not for a second.
Bullshit! We're doing it on this dinky podcast. It doesn't take... You don't have to stretch your fucking fingers out typing into the Google machine and to find out the truth of these traitors. All of the crimes go right down the memory hole on Fox News. It's all political, right? You tell me if Joe Biden or any other president used taxpayer money. That's why the president doesn't have the purse, because we're supposed to not want to have an autocrat. So the president isn't supposed to take the money that Congress designated. Congress is the first body, not the executive. And I don't even know, like, this, it's so ridiculous. This whole system sucks. But he takes this money and uses it to bribe, or to, no, it's not, it's extortion. That's what he was doing. It was telling him, you don't have to investigate. Just announce an investigation on Hunter Biden. Yeah, the son of a well-known politician and presidential candidate got a cushy job that he probably didn't deserve. Well, yeah, it's not good, but this is where we live. Show me where Donald Trump Jr. and all of his fucking corruption, what about when he went to, where did he go, Tibet, or where he shot an endangered species animal? Well, he with a laser pointer too. And then after the fact, they gave him a permit to do it when it was illegal to do it, period, because it was an endangered animal. That's how scummy. You see, that's a sociopath. That's like right out of, there's no difference to me, somebody like that. Well, there is a difference, of course, but, and a serial killer. How you take pleasure in murdering something. Yes, it's a difference because it's people, but animals, that's something sick about you. That's what you do? You want to fly to this country where you know they're going to open the doors to you because you're the son of the con man president who's in the White House despite receiving fewer votes. And he's a grifter and everybody knows, and you got to suck his smaller than average Mario Kart looking whatever he sticks in front of you so he can feel like he's up to the job when he knows he's not. And then you go and that's what you do. You're not out there like, Princess Diana used her position to advocate the end of landmines because children and others were getting mutilated. But what do they do? What do these grifters do? Or anyone? Talk about the Kennedys. They always talk about the Kennedys. They denigrate the Kennedys. Show me what, or Jimmy Carter. And show me what they are doing with their spare time. They're not out there making Habitat for Humanity. They're out there coming up with grifts. And Donald Trump Jr. is out there murdering endangered animals. For fun. Isn't that fun when you point your rifle at an animal that's standing? Apparently this animal was standing there and they used floodlights, which is also, how sporting of you. And then he used a laser sight to shoot the animal dead. It was standing there just to kill it. Because he likes to see the light go out of a creature's eyes? Fucking fuck. Oh my God. Sorry, guys, I know. I can't. It's like every 2 seconds I have to stop it.
Ed, they just call you a traitor.
You are
Here's
a traitor.
MSNBC.
And a racist.
What does it say that you have people like Tucker Carlson and Fox News drumming up support for Putin?
Yeah.
Traitor.
I mean, look, it's not frustrating. It's sickening. It's un-American.
Yep.
This is the same person who went to Hungary to interview Viktor Orban.
Yep.
But this is, a continuation of the propaganda machine of Fox. So it's not surprising, but it's really, really disappointing.
So now it is, quote, un-American to defend America's national interest. Shut up and support war with Russia.
No one's supporting. It's happening because your man is a tyrant. Your guy. The one that you're lying for. And spreading misinformation. The tyrant who sent assassins into the borders of our ally and killed people in a public park with poison. Fucking unbelievable. Oh, well, I mean, Doesn't matter, they kill journalists. Journalism is part of the pillars of democracy. And okay, you're going to chop up a journalist? Go for it. Can you loan me some money? You got $20?
Congressman David Cicilline of Rhode Island. Cicilline was particularly exercised that this show had sought to interview Vladimir Putin. NBC News interviewed Vladimir Putin not long ago. That was completely fine.
Yeah,
but our efforts to do
you're a propagandist. Interviewing Putin is one thing. Sucking him off is another. That's what it is. That's the difference, Tucker. Go kill a chicken. Maybe you'll feel better. And then shove it in your gullet. That's all you do. That's, unconscious. Shove. More. How much more do you need? You pasty-faced, beady-eyed little prick. Scared little man. And I don't even want to call. What do you call him? He's not a man. Call him a man is to elevate him. He's a worm. Pasty-faced little worm. And he knows it too. He knows the game. We've played when he used to call into these shock jock shows and talk about how he's got to keep the plebs from storming the castle and things like that. He's a fucking propagandist. Somewhere in hell, Joseph Goebbels is a tear streaking his cheek as he watches Tucker Carlson and says, "The student is now the master."
The same are not allowed. They're, quote, un-American.
You're un-American,
Joe Biden's legal advisor, Larry Tribe, agreed with this. On Twitter, he accused us of, quote, treason.
You're a traitor.
Which is a former Harvard law professor he knows perfectly well is a death penalty
I'll take
offense.
it.
Arrest the talk show host.
You're a propagandist, a liar. Like Tuckyorose. Like Axis Sally. That's him. He's fucking Axis Sally, man.
So how seriously should we take this? Well, it's pretty clear where it's going. First, the NSA spied on our emails and texts. Now they're accusing us of treason.
Well, that was Bush, baby. That's when you wanted it. You want spies. You want people to spy on what? Real, actual patriots. You want to put people in camps. You want the American people to just go at each other's throats. It's for time immemorial. Amen. Amen. God.
Got it. They want us to be quiet. But
Yeah,
we won't
I
be
do.
quiet, and not just because this is a news organization.
You're not news.
Because we're Americans.
No,
and we can talk.
You're a traitor. You may have been born here, but you're a traitor. To
anyone we want. We can have any opinion we feel like having.
You can, and you're a lying piece of shit. You're allowed to your lying piece of shit opinion, but don't call it news. And don't call your viewers because they're victims. Willing victims, they're victims and volunteers, but they're drawn to your evil, divisive rhetoric because of their inherent racism. It really comes down to that.
That is not treason. It is not un-American.
It is.
It's the whole point of America. It is our bill.
That's the point of America, to lie, to spill and spew poison into the ears of filthy fascist racists and tell them that an autocrat who was kicked out of our organization of the G7 or G8 because he sent assassins into the borders of our allies to kill people in the streets? Is that why? And also on and on, all the espionage, all of the interference in our election, the lies, the creating Facebook groups, pro-Trump. How come Trump and the fascist fucking right-wing filthy liars need so much help from autocrats? Why don't the American moron just go to the American moron and state your case? But they don't. They lie to the American moron. They tell them that Putin's a president and Joe Biden is weak. Could you imagine? I always think about September 11th in regard to what we're dealing with now. When we were attacked on September 11th, and for those who are old enough to remember, it was George W. Bush was squatting in the White House despite receiving fewer votes, appointed there by the Supreme Court, that his daddy helped play. I mean, the corruption was right out in the open. Talk about divided country. That's the thing about right-wingers. They don't give a shit about the country. They want the country divided. They squat in the White House despite receiving fewer votes, and then they strut around like the fucking cock of the walk, like they have a mandate. And then they start shoving all of their fascist, divisive, kiss-up, kick-down policies down everybody's throats. Like they always talk about, they're shoving it down our throats. Calling Dr. Ford, of course, but we're shoving what? The the regulating the healthcare industry, so they don't kick you off when you get sick. Now they want their pre-existing conditions protections. They think that was somehow fucking insurance racketeers felt like trickling it on us. But these filthy pricks.
America. It is our Bill of Rights distilled. So today we sent another letter to Vladimir Putin asking for an interview.
Why don't
we
you
hope
just
we
suck
get
his
it.
cock already?
We also sent a message
Pardon
to
my
the president
French.
of
I told you it
Ukraine.
was going to
We
be
would
an
like that
R-rated
interview
show.
too.
Just suck him off, Tucker. That's what you want to do. Bend and then do. I mean, I don't want to say bend over, whatever. I know that's just, but that's what he wants. If nobody, I don't give a shit. Do it. You want to. Yeah, I know. Mark wants to get in here. Oh, hold on. Mark, you can call in now. I need to shut up. I'm in a mood. I don't know if you can tell. Look at me. I look like a ghost, too. I need some lighting in here. So I don't have this green ghostly pallor. All right.
Now, neither one of these men runs a democracy by traditional American.
Democracy? What is with your quizzical fucking brow, Tucker? Why are you so confused? Maybe it's because you're way up there in the ivory tower looking down on all of us and you can't goddamn see clearly. So shut your hole. Your lie hole. You stupid bow tie freak. You still look like you wear a bow tie, you dumb, pasty face, goddamn pudgy little white freaking fascist. Why do these fascists always look like so well fed, don't they? So round in the cheek. Prick. God damn it. Let's get Mark in here. Save me from myself. Are you calling it? Oh, wait, I forgot. He doesn't have the number. La-dee-doo-doo-doo. Do you have the number? Do you have the number? While you're doing that, let me see. Oh, thank you, Robyn M. Have you read Ann Nelson's Shadow Network, Tara? I blame the evangelicals for all this shit. No, I haven't. I'll put that on the list. Yeah, they're disgusting. That's the other thing. Oh, and their excuse, the evangelicals, are, Jesus is working in mysterious ways. King Herod wasn't perfect. Or King David, they always point to that. he was a sinner too. Trump is a sinner. Oh, but look, he's saving us. He's saving all the babies by ensuring that women go into back alleys and die. And you're not doing anything for abortion, you scummy, dumb pricks. All you're doing is making sure that women die as you stand in the way of every policy that actually reduces the numbers of abortion. That's the other thing we talk about on the show. That drives me insane. Besides everything else, why is it so hard for the Democrats to say that? Why? You know, when a filthy fascist liar says, I'm pro-life, then the Democrats, easy, listen to me, Dems. Well, no, honey, you're not pro-life, you're pro-birth. Because if you want to reduce the numbers of abortion, as we all do, we don't want, to put people through that. Especially, you vote Democratic because abortion rates go down under Democratic policies. Oh, and here's the chart. And when Saint Reagan had his chart, it was complete bullshit. He went out there, the Laffer curve, basically saying that, trickle down and racism is all A-okay. Because they made this Laffer curve thing. Oh, you got it. Here is Mark. Mark Middlestaedt is here to save me from myself. From Mark Middlestaedt from Shaping Progress, our millennial correspondent. Hello. And Mark lives in Portland. Now, let me just explain. Mark is our, I did say that already, millennial correspondent, and has his own show, Shaping Progress. So join shapingprogress.org. And it's more than a show. It's an organization that is dedicated to positive activism and fighting fascism and making the world safe for democracy, really. So thank you, Mark. Yeah. So talk about this. Thank you for having me. Of course, anytime. So tell me about what happened in Portland.
Yeah. So Portland, our anti-fascist community over here is grieving pretty hard. There's a regular protesting group called Justice for Patrick Kimmins. There you can find it, Justice for Patrick Kimmins, on Instagram and a couple other places. And they're run by a woman named Letha, who I've met on a couple occasions. And her son was killed by the Portland police. And so they are the only Black Lives Matter organization, as far as I know, that's still marching every week here in Portland. And they've done regular marches for few years now, and they're always entirely nonviolent. They're always very cautious and careful about how they go about it. And we have a bunch of medics, and there's usually a motorcade, so a couple cars that lead and follow. And everybody comes in block, so everybody's prepared. And so as I was supposed to be at this event on Saturday night.
Oh my God!
So I'd planned on going. I had planned on going all week, and then in the middle of the day, something kind of happened with me where I was feeling a little depressed, and so my girlfriend ended up coming over, and I just stayed in for the night. And I wake up, and I get all of this. I have a bunch of texts from comrades of mine. And they're all asking if I'm okay and making sure I wasn't there and all of this stuff. And it turns out that as they were just getting ready to enter the street and the motorcade was getting set up and stuff, a man who lived a block away, his name is Ben Smith, he came up with a gun and started calling the group terrorist C words, and
Jesus
said that
Christ.
they were said that if they marched in front of his home, he would start opening fire. and they explained to him that it's nonviolent and that he should just leave, a bunch of other things. And at one point, they finished saying something to him, and he looks at them and then turns and shoots a woman in the face who through her windshield.
Oh my God!
Who was doing the motorcade, and then turns, shoots another in the neck, and shoots 4 more other people.
Oh my God!
And so, yeah, just a really crazy situation. And this woman's name was, her street name was T-Rex. I can't remember her full actual name. And we all have street names, so we don't have to give out our identity at these things, but so you get to know each other. And so immediately they canceled the march. Letha, the woman who runs it, has a couple guards that are always with her at these things, and they returned fire, shot him in the hip, and got him on the ground.
Wow.
And so in the meantime, so the day after, I went to jail support. So a couple comrades were arrested at this thing. And the guy who opened fire hadn't even been arrested at that point. He had been taken to the hospital, and apparently now cops have been with him since that time. But so we go to the central building in downtown, the central precinct, and wait on all the different corners for people to come out so that they have people that take care of them right away and all of that kind of thing. And so I was there, and I saw a lot of the comrades I know, and we were all grieving, and I saw a bunch of the independent journalists that I follow and know personally, and they were all remarking about how crazy the situation is. And then later that day, there were 2 vigils that were held at the park where it happened.
Wow.
And there is a really large, I could text you a picture.
Okay. Yeah, text it, and I can show it.
Yeah, you can put it up? Okay.
Yeah. Text it to me.
So, yeah. So so it should go through in a second. But there is a huge, there's a huge memorial area in the structure in the middle of the park. And at the time that I went to the memorial on Sunday, it was pretty small, and the woman's partner was there and just wailing, and
oh my God,
that was really sad. And then
Jesus Christ,
today I wanted to go back, and there are now that's the picture that I sent you.
Yeah.
There are a bunch more flowers. There are a bunch of little T-Rex toys there, and there's a whole lot of chalk and candles and spray paint, and people have been going regularly, and so now I'm in contact with over a dozen other comrades that I know who are all regularly going there and making sure that it doesn't get disrupted or vandalized. And there are people who stay overnight, and there are fires in fireplaces there, and a whole bunch of other things.
Wow.
And so, everybody's shown up with a bunch of food. There's food and cigarettes and drinks and all of that kind of stuff there. And so if anyone's in Portland who's listening or who listens after the fact, I highly recommend going there. It's Normandale Park. And yeah. So the whole community
this woman
totally real.
Yeah, just senselessly murdered. And that night that it happened, I saw it on the Twitter feed, but I didn't see one single mention of it on any mainstream media outlet. And that if this were, the mythical Antifa coming flying down from the orders on high and killed a Trumpanzee or killed one of these proud pricks, it would have been all over media, all over. Not a single mention. This is outrageous.
Nope. Yeah, and for a while, yesterday, the police were protecting this person's identity, Ben Smith, and luckily, Antifa friends of mine helped expose his identity. And then now we've gone through his accounts, and obviously he has a long history of this. And last night there was video that surfaced that's another comrade had taken who lives right next to his apartment building, and the police were raiding the whole apartment and took out like a dozen guns in the video.
Yes.
And some of them, from what a couple of people were telling me today, looked like they were 3D printed or unregistered, and like he was selling them. So,
wow.
yeah,
there you
this kind
go.
of
Right.
should really be taken care of. And up until today, he hadn't been charged for anything, and I finally just saw he's been charged.
Yeah, I just see this. It was 3 hours ago. It says a man whom a roommate said frequently railed against Antifa activists faces murder and attempted murder charges for allegedly opening fire on people who gathered Saturday evening for a racial justice march. Oh, yeah. You got to get in there and kill, right? It's fucking...
Yeah, exactly right.
Jesus Christ.
The Associated Press had an article today that said local homeowner fires gun at protesters.
What? Fires gun? Oh my God.
Yeah, and the homeowner part. I mean,
local?
What relevance does that have at all?
Oh, because he's a he's a good man. He's a good middle class man. Local homeowner. He's local. He's one of us. Homeowner. Taxpayer, tax-paying property owner. These radicals, they want things. They want communism. They want free stuff. This is right. Yeah. This is the fucking message.
Yeah.
Why isn't this on every news outlet? It's outrageous. I don't understand it. It's like Kent State or something.
People. Yeah. The people that I've been talking to and that are there and that I've seen over the past couple of days, everyone is just heartbroken and really reeling, and it's the whole thing is unspeakable, and every person that I've seen there has broken down a number of times, and we're all hugging each other and giving each other support. And it's if you know anybody who's an anti-fascist in Portland, definitely check in with them in the next week, because it's important that we all stick together and that kind of stuff. And I saw he's facing 1 count of second-degree murder, 4 counts of attempted first-degree murder with a firearm, as well as 4 counts of assault with a firearm.
Yes, it says statement released. This is from the Seattle Times. Statement released by the district attorney's office said a judge signed a warrant for Smith's arrest on Tuesday. When how many days ago did this? It was like he was just like walking around. He killed somebody.
Saturday night.
Right.
Yeah.
The affidavit included a description of events on Saturday based on, in part, on video evidence. So you got to get a video of somebody murdering somebody.
There was someone, there was someone who was wearing, sometimes people wear body cams. This person was wearing a GoPro, and it got the entire thing, including
you got to get, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and it's tough too, because often I hear people talking about how we shouldn't film any of these things for the sake of protecting people's identities and stuff. But this is obviously a case for the opposite. Right. Also, some of the court records filed today said that one person was paralyzed from the neck down, and that 3 other victims were also shot in multiple places.
Oh my God.
I know the partner of one of the people who's still in the hospital. Only one of the other 3 people, besides the paralyzed one, is still in the hospital. The other 2 were treated and released.
Oh my God! Paralyzed from the neck down.
Yep.
This fucking for rallying for racial justice, and we're all. This is what we're supposed to be doing here. Anti-fascism is patriotism. That's it. That young man that I spoke about in the grave that I see regularly that says Normandy invasion, he was an anti-fascist. He died fighting fascism, you know, and so many others. That being an anti-fascist is as red, white, and blue as American pie. For fuck's sake. Jeez. I mean, apple pie, not American pie. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, this is very upsetting. It's beyond belief.
Oh yeah.
That
I've had a bunch of, you know, there's been multiple 4 or 5 hour periods for me. The rest of the time it doesn't set in as much, but where it's really hard. It's very different when it's in your community. I've known people who've been,
you know them. You know them.
Beaten up randomly. Yeah, all of the 6 people were friends of mine.
Right.
And,
it's close to home.
Yeah.
And then you have, this is what I saw. That's why I came across my Twitter. Because the other thing is that, as I've shared on the show before, every time I open my fucking Twitter feed, there's right-wing bullshit at the top. It's like all the time. I'm not asking for this stuff. It's just there, you know. Okay.
Yep.
But I saw Andy Ngo, you know, whatever, however you pronounce it. I hate that guy. And I met him. I met him at this thing. We did like a panel.
You did?
Yeah. He's a little fucking prick. Oh my God.
Yeah,
he's
no
just
kidding.
a little.
I hate that.
Oh yeah.
fucker.
He's like fucking 3 feet tall. Not that matters. Not that he is. I mean, he's a little tall. He's just a little arrogant little. I don't even know how to describe it. I hate him. The energy he has. It's just, he's like a horrible person. Yeah.
So Ben Smith followed Andy Ngo on Twitter. Ben Smith liked and responded on a bunch of his things. That's how we know he was a white supremacist.
Right.
And Andy Ngo posted the flyer, the address, and the time of this protest 5 different times.
Why isn't he in? What I mean?
Yeah. It's almost like he should be removed.
Right.
Kind of thing. And now I've watched anti-fascists on social media who posted about him, saying getting their posts deleted, saying that they were inciting violence when they were saying nothing remotely violent about him. Just the fact that he had posted in advance. And this guy hasn't gotten anything taken down.
Right, because Republicans are victims. You know, they don't want to get them all upset. They're getting canceled. All right, it's like, you should be canceled. You're a violent. And you're a violence-inspiring, stochastic terrorist. That's what he is. He's giving people's names, locations, basically stirring the pot. He knows who he's dealing with. Unhinged fuckers creating unregistered, untraceable ghost guns with 3D printers. Of course, that's what they're doing.
Yep.
And then he goes to a rally for racial justice and shoots a woman in the head. I can't. And then on his Twitter feed, he writes, this is why I knew about it. It wasn't anything on the mainstream media. It said, this is what he writes. This threat is important reporting on the violent criminal suspects supported. Oh, well, this is something else. Now, where is it? He's talking about supported by the far left group, blah, blah, blah. But where is this? Oh, because he was writing that. Here it is. Last night, there was a mass shooting in Portland at Normandale Park where an armed Antifa. You see what I'm saying? It's fucking opposite world. Armed Antifa and far left militants were gathering for a direct action. What does that mean, you little fucking scum?
This isn't a direct action either.
No, it's just people, rallying, getting together, saying we should have a society that works for all, regardless of pigment. How radical. And then you know what annoys me about him too? Just the other thing is he is he's gay, so he has a gay flag on his on his Twitter handle. Like, fuck you.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, you're just a piece of shit. That is the truth.
Could we disown him from our community? That would be great.
Please. Well. Really? He doesn't
that's pansexual.
No, I know, but I mean he's just not that's another example of him. Well, people like him. It's like, what's that other guy? Milo, Yana, whatever the hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They want all, like, we do the work. We're out here on the
Yep.
front lines, opening the gates.
Is directly responsible for this woman dying.
Yes.
Also, I don't condone this message, but on the side of the structure in the middle of the park, there's in massive letters, "Kill Andy," just so you know. So that's the sentiment about his involvement in this thing. So
he's a professional
like-
victim anyway, so yeah.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
That's what he is. I mean, somebody hit him in the head with a shake, and he said he got brain damage from it. So, he's just a grift. He is a grifter.
Claimed it was filled with cement. I mean, wow, what a...
Well, I saw it. I mean, he had it dripping down his face. It didn't look like fucking cement to me, so...
Exactly.
Like somebody, please. He's a grifter, and it's like I say, guys. Then they put his ass on Fox News. They put him on these propaganda outlets. That's all you got to be. It's just be one of the, especially because he's openly gay. They use that as human shields. That's what they do. Human shields for bigotry while they're on there. All right now, passing anti-trans bills, attacking trans people. Trans people are now #1 targets, and then don't say gay and causing all this kind of pain for youth, young people who are coming out, and now they're back. Go back in the closet. Don't say gay. You should be ashamed, and all this other shit. Yep. So, and Andy has because he's one of them, he has this, has the privilege to be like a Candace Owens, like like a Diamond and Silk. They're accepted into their little cabal of fascists because they're the human shields. And everybody else is getting killed.
If they didn't agree, they would be jailed for the minority groups that they fall into.
Absolutely. They're just used. I mean, there were I saw right. That's what they are. They are used. It's like in the Nazi concentration camps. They have the Sonderkommandos they were also Jewish, but they would meet the trains and say, "Oh, don't worry, it's only a shower," and shit like that. And they got a little bit more privilege from the Nazis, and then a couple of 3 months, and then they would be right behind into the same death that they were ushering other people into. They're expendable. They're used. And then what is this fucking book he has? This, everything is him. He's a victim. Oh my God!
I know a bunch of comrades who've gone down, and my poor friend Dustin, especially. But I know a bunch of comrades who've gone down to Powell's multiple times in the last year and a half to protest at length his book being sold there. Yeah,
right. Because it's violence inspiring lies, propaganda, and where is this? Unmasked inside Antifa's radical. What is this? Oh, here. What did you say? Radical something to destroy. A radical plan to destroy democracy. Who's
he's
destroying?
The one with the radical.
Exactly.
Plan to destroy democracy.
We're trying to make it work. You scumbag. I hate him. Yeah. I hate these people. It's like, it reminds, I was trying to find this article, but I remember reading about this man during the civil rights movement, a man with darker pigment who was working with the FBI against Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement. And there was through a Freedom of Information Act thing, he was one of someone in the vicinity of the leaders, of the civil rights movement, and but he was getting paid by not just the FBI but also the KKK. So they were using him as somebody who was infiltrating the civil rights movement, and it came out because he wrote a letter asking where's my money, where's my pay, so that's who he is. That's Andy No. He's just a grifter.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's working with the government, and I know for a fact he's working with and being paid by white supremacist groups.
Definitely.
Patriot Prayer, Boys, Patriot Front, all of those bastards.
Absolutely. They use these people. They're not. That's the thing, because I'm trying to find it. I lost his page, but they have no. There's no boundaries. They know that he's a human shield. They use it. That's why Andy No will put the gay flag on his Twitter feed, and all of the white supremacists and the homophobes and the people. These are people who hate him. They hate him. They hate us. Yeah. They hate humans in general. So it's like I hate him. I can't. Sometimes there's just. It's just no words. I don't even know what to say. He's disgusting.
Yeah. Ugh. I mean, there's no words for me about any of this stuff. I felt it was important to try and get it on the show tonight and stuff. But
I'm glad you did, because just to get the word out too, because nobody else is. It's insane.
Yeah,
exactly. It's absolutely crazy that. This is right.
There were. Oh no! Keep going. Sorry.
No. I was you were saying there were what? There were what?
There were a couple statements that Ted Wheeler, the mayor of Portland, put out in the last day or two, and he has still not offered any condolences to the family of T-Rex.
Unbelievable.
In the initial one, he thanked the police profusely, which this was an anti-police protest, and also there was a cop who went up to obviously the medics, as soon as these people were all shot, went to go try and stop the bleeding on the victims, and there was a cop that ended up walking up to one of them and commanding them to take pressure off of the wound, and then trying to turn the bleeding out person over and arrest them until he was stopped by another cop. And then I was also going to say, on Sunday at the vigil, as we're standing there early in the afternoon, a cop pulls up on the side of the park, and immediately a dozen comrades went to go tell him to get the fuck out of here. And this is a memorial and all of this stuff. And he, with his windows down, radios for backup. Either wised up or someone told him, told everyone else not to go. But he continued to roam around the park, and we see that as a threat every time something happens. But he continued to roam around the park and essentially menace everyone who was there and grieve.
Really?
So,
wow.
There's no. This is not. The cops don't react very much at all to any of this stuff.
Wow. They just let some fucker with a gun threaten people and then murder people.
Yep.
Wow. Well, as far as that, I'm thinking about that book, From Dictatorship to Democracy. And one of the steps along the way of taking back your country from a fascist, corrupt government is you have to get the police on your side, and that's when you know that it's over. And really, I mean, my suggestion, I don't know, is to be as respectful, and I know the cops are fucked up, but they're people too, and it's part of getting, because the fact is we're working for them too. We want everybody to have a country that works for everybody, and so we're working for them in the sense that we want everyone to be free and actually liberated. Right. Yeah, but they, at the moment, they're supposed to be working for us and essentially are committing murders across the city. And I just here, that's just in Portland, that's a bit more difficult for me because I've been flipped off by local cops 3 times. No, I know.
I know. Yeah, it's pretty hostile.
Yeah, no, I have a few stories about cops myself that don't even involve protesting or anything. I just run-ins with them, fucked up run-ins. They're fucked up. I'll tell you a brief story. I was going to my parents' house when my father and mother, they lived on Staten Island, and my father was sick with Alzheimer's, and not yet to the point where he needed round-the-clock care, but so I would go over there every other weekend, and I was on my way there, and I was going down a one-way street, and there was a car coming down the other way, the wrong way, and I was like, beep, beep, wrong way, right?
Yeah.
They turned around, and it was a cop, and then they went, beep, beep, and they pulled me over, and I was like, what? And they're like, yes, for fucking, I said, you pulled me over for beeping at you? I said, you're going the wrong way. She's like, it was two female officers, and she said, we're looking for a burglary suspect or burglary, whatever the fuck. And I said, do I fit the description or something? And she's like, no. And I was like, then why are you harassing me? And she's like, they're in an unmarked car. I said, how the fuck do I know you're cops? You're in an unmarked car, going the wrong way down the street. I wasn't even, like, rude about it. I was like, beep, beep, wrong way. Yeah. That's it. And she's like, give me your license and registration. I was like, give me your fucking card. I was like, so. Yeah. And then I took off my seatbelt, and I like turned towards her just to talk. And she's like, I can give you a ticket right now. And I said, for what? For no seatbelt. She goes, I was like, you fucking try it. I was like, I was so, but this is what I'm saying. Like, these are people. Some of them are assholes, and they get power, and that's it. That's why we don't want people who are assholes in power. Yeah, because that's what they do. Abuse it. Yeah. And I was like, well, while you're here harassing me, the burglar is getting away. You fuckers.
Yeah, exactly.
And
they don't care about soft things. They're on Saturday night, by the way, there were 6 other shootings in Portland in the same night. And this is a year where we've had the most. Since the George Floyd thing and everything, they haven't divested a cent from the Portland police, and in fact, they've increased the budget.
Yeah,
considerably. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
it's almost like the correlation or no correlation either way between how police you have.
Oh, of course. Well, now the message is, this defund the police, so woke, it's woke. Nobody likes the fucking woke. But the thing is, that's why, I'm so sick of Democrats and who don't know how to message, because as I know, as you know, the message should have been fund community policing. That's it. Not defund, because people don't like to be taken things when they don't like things taken from them. That's what it sounds like. And it also sounds like it feeds into the fevered, fear-centered, low-effort thinking brains of the American right wing, because they start thinking what we're talking about is no cops, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a different, community policing, officer friendly on the corner. If someone's in a mental breakdown, you don't shoot them. You send people who have experience with that, not cops. That's what that is. It's God. Oh my God. But anyway, and of course the corporate media is happy to keep spreading the lie. Oh, well, that showed them. No, defund the police is out. It's over. It's like, it's such. And then who said that? Somebody, one of the, I think it was Ayanna Presley or one of the squad was like, no, I still believe. They asked her, you still want to defund the police? And she was like, yes. But the thing is, it's like the word socialism. The definition has been screwed up purposefully, like from the corporate media. They don't explain it. Why? Wouldn't you think that they would, since it is that's their job to inform people? They don't explain it. They don't. That's
Yeah.
why people are dumb. So they run with the propaganda, right wing propaganda. So, oh my God. Anyway,
And they do need to be defunded because they take up millions and millions of large city budgets. I mean, that money could all very easily go to actually solving the problems, and crime would fall overnight. That progressive policies are the only thing that drop crime rates.
Right. That's why the people are like, well, what are this crime up all over the country? Well, maybe people can't save $400. You know, I mean, that's part of it. Like, you know, your work. I actually sold a juicer that I was never used. I sold it on OfferUp, and a guy came over. And he, you know, was just talking, and I said something about, he was, whatever, like, he was just saying about, oh, it's a nice neighborhood or whatever. I was like, yeah, where do you live? And he was saying, oh, I have to get out of here. I can't afford my apartment. It's too much money, $1,800 a month for an apartment. It's like, that's my entire paycheck. And who the fuck can live like that? Who can live like that? So people are scraping by.
This is going down. This bubble is popping for sure. It's just a matter of, is it going to be such that the fascists think it's just open season at that point, or is it going to be such that the anti-fascists actually have a chance
I don't know.
to put in policies and rebuild afterwards?
Right.
And I think we have a lot more of an imperative to do that.
Yes.
The Republicans and the right, their supposed imperative all hinges around the system we've got going on right now and capitalism and all of these things. We know that the progressive policies that we need in place are related to drug use, rehabilitation, and drug use centers.
Right.
We know that we need something like a universal basic income, and we also know we need abortion to be legalized, because all of these things have a direct impact.
Right.
And the other, I mean, we've been talking about that a bit on the left, but the issue that we really need to talk about when it comes to these kind of situations on the left is that it's obvious that the government is white supremacist. That policing is white supremacist. Policing is immoral, the way we've got it going on right now, at the very least, if not to an extent in general. The carceral system is completely immoral and needs to be abolished.
Oh, yeah. It's so many, right?
So many
exactly.
Things. We've got this long laundry list.
Right.
But what, besides, there was that candidate in, I think it was Texas or Nevada or one of those places, Jesus, Guns, and Babies. That's their whole platform.
Yes.
And being anti-vax. And that's pretty,
that's
all they've got left to go.
Well, they have. They need they need division to do it, and the fact is, we know that the American people, when they're polled on specific policies, it sounds, oh yeah, I like that, but that's, they're being propagandized, even about defund the police. I hate that. I hate it because it's a dumb slogan. It is fucking dumb. I'm sorry. It really is. Of course they know. Of course that's the way they're going to talk, because they don't know what the police budgets in their cities are at all. Right.
They have no idea.
Right.
Also don't know that they assume that if they were to call the police and the police were defunded, there would be no officers to come and help them.
That's what they think. That's what they. Yes.
Yeah. There's no officers right now to come and answer their calls.
Right.
Anywhere.
Right.
And we have more officers than we've ever had. Crime is just going to continue to increase proportional to the amount of officers that we have, such that it's never going to make any difference.
Right. Yeah. Until you fix the problems, the economic problems. What's that?
Yeah. And they constantly kill people purposely. So they're state-sanctioned murderers.
They're allowed to. That's the other thing. And the right-wingers, they're fine with that. As long as you're killing darker pigment people or anybody who is fighting for actual democracy, they're fine with that. You know, you never see. I mean, really, show me left wingers. I know Andy No is all like, I'm being attacked, and in his dreams he's being attacked, and because he's not. Nobody's attacking him. He's just a dick, and no one is trying to kill him. No one's showing up at Trumpanzee or Proud Boy or whatever the fuck. They're not. Nobody has. It's not left wingers showing up with guns. These people are out there to kill. That's what they're doing.
It's peaceful. It's peaceful college student protesters who are showing up at his rallies and thankfully shutting him down. And he's a dick with blood on his hands.
Yes,
and
really.
It's only going to continue to increase.
Yeah,
and at some point, I feel somewhat confident that unless things go in the complete opposite direction, which I really, knowing how many of the younger generation there are to outvote, like Survivor, Outwit, Outplay, Outlast the older generations, I just, unless it goes in that terrible direction, we're going to see him be, held to account for his
I hope
actions.
so.
And
I do. I really do. He deserves it.
Even bigger example of how big of a mess this whole thing is. So if people try and tell you that the government is not white supremacist or that the pigs aren't murderers or anything else, all of this stuff goes to show.
Right. Absolutely. And the whole, you just turn on Fox News and look at the victimitis going on. It's always the white, rich, powerful, and their enablers and cheerleaders. They're the ones under attack in the country where they have all the fucking power. They have, we're out here unable to save $400, living paycheck to paycheck, and which is not the recipe for democracy.
Most leftists can't afford a gun.
Right.
Most right-wingers either have a gun or think about having a gun.
That's right. We're not buying. I don't know. Some people like gun. I don't know. We're fucking like marching, and I know I'm cursing a lot. I know. But tonight's a curse. It's a lot of curses. I'm very frustrated. Yeah, the whole thing. Anyway, but thank you for calling in and giving us the view from the ground, and we'll keep talking about it since, especially because nobody else is, it seems. And now it reminds me. Imagine if this were. You remember? I didn't remember either. It was before my time too. But when students were killed at Kent State, that was national news, and it was it was part of what turned the American people's hearts and minds against, for the civil rights movement and against the the fascist cops, and in this case the National Guard, who fired on students and killed them. And but
now that the corporate media is corporate, it's not
out there. Why isn't this? It's just another example of how much the corporate media is against the average person and democracy. It really is about having laying the groundwork for democracy. It's like you have to have a fertile field. That's what you do. And then you plant the seeds of democracy. You can plant the seeds of autocracy too, but that's your choice, and that's what's going on. If we don't plant those seeds for democracy to grow, and you cultivate it, and you take care of it, and you ensure that other people know how to take care of it. So when you're gone, it keeps going. You know what I mean? If you don't do that, it's gone. It's not a given. Yeah. So they're planting all these seeds that have been planted along my lifetime. The fruits that have been bared, or whatever however you say it. We're looking at fascism. That's what they did. Attacking the media, attacking kids going to school, being able to get an education without being an indentured servants to banks. Now that doesn't happen. You can't do that
or
now.
being shot. You know?
Right. Exactly. So and the media, even the so-called liberal media, that's the other lie that keeps being perpetrated and perpetuated. It's not liberal media. It's corporate media. It doesn't matter if it has it's the so-called liberal media is less. They're less Trumpy, of course, but they are still corporatist. They don't like the chaos. They want you to be okay, and they want you to be. They want the American people to think that living paycheck to paycheck is being middle class. Yeah.
Or acceptable.
Yes.
Or not unspeakable.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what. And so when Trump shuts down the government and government workers end up on a food bank line after 2 weeks, missing a paycheck for 2 weeks, and you're on a food line, that's not middle class. That's not fucking middle class. It's not. Living paycheck to paycheck is not middle class. But they have redefined it.
40 million people are unemployed immediately. That's not. Those people weren't. They weren't in secure middle class.
Right.
Either. Yeah.
Right. But they don't. You see on the corporate media when they shut down the government. When Trump shut down the government, shut it down. The corporate media were like, oh, and people are on food bank lines, and that they never said.
Yeah, it was a side note.
Yes, but even still, they would point it out and say, oh, they would interview somebody. Yeah, I had to go to the food bank. It's the government's only shut down 2 weeks. You're on a food bank line. No corporate media said this is unacceptable. That's not middle class. This is dangerous. That's why we have crime and. Because kids, young people are despondent. Death by despair is off the chart. There's no, you can't get established. You keep hearing about, what's the American dream? They redefined it to you too can be a billionaire and then you can shit on other people too. So, I mean, if you come up with a scam. Oh,
yeah,
God.
I mean, when we're talking about, with this most recent situation here, the mayor not offering condolences about this stuff.
Oh, my God.
Media constantly, not just not talking about it, but when they're talking about it, constantly lying it and spinning it. In any just society, these people would be fired.
Yes.
The ones who get
Right.
It all goes to show how dysfunctional it is.
Right.
But, okay, I gotta take off.
All right, kid.
Over here, we're gonna veg out and act like this shit's not going on.
I feel you. And that's what I'm gonna be doing soon. As soon as the show's over, I just turn it off and go watch something that I can just distract me from my own life.
Yeah.
Something with puppies or kittens or something. I don't know. I saw something very cute about a little possum. That was very cute. Like a video, a YouTube video. This lady, there was an opossum that fell out of a tree, unfortunately, and died, the mother. And then, but there was a little possum in her pouch, so she rescued it, and now it's her pet, and it's the cutest thing. So, yeah. So.
You got to text me that.
I will. I'll send it to you. You need to see it. It's very cute. Maybe you want to get an opossum, but that'll be crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm in it playing dead, but
I know, right? All righty. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Good night.
Good night. I'll see you later. All right. That's Mark Middlestaedt from Shaping Progress. He's our millennial correspondent. Also a kick-ass patriot, doing everything in his power to make the world a better place, and that's what you call that's patriotism. You know what I mean? Not being a dupe of a con man and his autocratic death cult. Jesus Christ. So I should. There. Oh wait, are you still there?
No, it looked like you just called me back.
Oh, I
Sorry about
did?
that.
How'd that happen? Oh, maybe I did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I, instead of hitting the end the call button, I might have hit the call him back button. Okay, yes, it looks like I did. Okay, goodbye. I'll see you later. I'll drop the call. See, they have, there's a couple of buttons there. They're just too close together. And I always try to, one button, there's a button that says call back. Another one, right next to it, it says ban the caller. So I always have to make sure I don't hit that button. Yeah. So before I see the time, we'll probably end around midnight. And I want to thank Mark Middlestaedt again for calling in. He's our millennial correspondent and the founder of Shaping Progress. So join shapingprogress.org. And it's not just a show, it is a movement. And it has there's a guide to fighting fascism, and I just, it's so impressive, frankly. Also a book list of must-reads. All right, hold on. Tara Jr. is getting crazy again. Look at this camera. Junior, say hello to everybody. Ow! He bit me. Ow! You little bastard. It's okay. He's biting the hand that feeds him because he wants me to pet him. I have to put him on this over here. All right, I know, honey. See, he can't handle it. He wants my hand. My hand is nothing but an object to him. All right, for all who don't know who Andy No is, this is from Jacobin. I'll read a little bit of it. This is a good article by Aaron Gupta. Portland's Andy No is the most dangerous grifter in America. Far-right forces will converge on Portland tomorrow, incited by right-wing provocateur Andy No. Though he poses as a journalist, the purpose of his platform is to sow harassment and violence against his targets on the left, and the mainstream media have fallen for it. Of course. So there's from Jacobin magazine. Hold on a second. You see, this is him on Fox News with he had a black eye. He's a professional victim. The media don't know what to make of Andy No. The New York Times calls No an independent journalist. That's what they call, what's his face? The James OKeefe grifter. He's not a journalist. How are you a journalist when you take video and you deceptively edit it to achieve an outcome? Like with Shirley Sherrod, most famously. That's kind of how he made his bones. He didn't force. When the Obama administration fired Shirley Sherrod against the law, she was because of this filthy fascist liar who made a video that twisted her words. He put her words together to basically make the viewer think that, or make it seem that she was saying something that she was saying the exact opposite. So what she was talking about was that how she came to the realization that the real fight, it wasn't about black versus white or white versus black. It was a class war. It was rich and poor. That was our common denominator. And that's what we talk about on this show. And also, that's reality. So right-wingers can't get that. They can't allow that message to be adopted and sink into the brains of the dumbasses. So he selectively edited and not even just deceptively edited this. And Shirley Sherrod, they immediately fired her. without investigation, because that's what Democrats do. They throw anybody under the bus. They never stand by for a second and say, what the hell is going on here with these fascists? What are they up to now? This is bullshit. Of course, Shirley Sherrod ended up suing, and she won because she said nothing of the sort. Could you imagine somebody who she works for the government? I believe her role was helping fund loans for farmers who to get government loans, and she, so she's working for the feds in that way. And could you imagine her getting up and she was speaking at some seminar and saying, you know what, fuck Whitey. I'm not giving any loans to Whitey. That's what they made her. That's what James O'Keefe made it seem like she said. And they gave him the moniker journalist. Give me a break. And this guy, too. Grifters. They're all fascist grifters. Along the lines of Joseph Goebbels, they might as well be writing for Der Stürmer. So, let's see. Other outlets call him a conservative writer. Give me a break. But none of these labels get to who No is. More importantly, they fail to define his role in far-right politics, media, and violence. An incident from October 2018 in Portland illustrates this role well. It begins with Portland police killing Patrick Kimmins, and that's who they were having a memorial, a justice march and gathering for in Portland when this right-wing freak killed this woman and tried to kill many more. So Patrick Kimmins, a 27-year-old African-American male in disputed circumstances, the Black Lives Matter style activist group Don't Shoot Portland, called for a protest on October 6th. Kimmins' family members joined in what local media described as a peaceful and uneventful event. There was one dicey moment during the march. A driver made an illegal right turn into protesters who were on a crosswalk and had the walk sign. A local TV station that recorded the incident wrote that the driver plowed through protesters. Video shows a man stopping in front of a silver Lexus that then strikes him and pushes him for more than 30 feet. Down the block, a brief confrontation ensues with a protester shoving the driver once and others hitting his vehicle. The driver left his car without any more incident, and the protesters yelled, "Get out of here." It was unremarkable. But another video of the incident began circulating where it is difficult to see the protester being struck, enabling false claims such as hashtag Antifa anarchists threaten elderly driver in Portland. So, you see, if you are correct and you're working for Jesus and working for mom and apple pie, do you make up headlines like that? And fabricate incidences that only serve to tickle the fissures of disunity and cause outrage? That's what it's aimed at, ensuring that the average American who is not motivated to get out in the streets and join the protests, the ones watching on TV, if the corporate media ever shows the story, that's another thing. But it's meant to ensure that the average American disassociates with the very movement that will create a more perfect union. That's how disgusting they are. That's how disgusting Andy No is. I don't know. He's gay. Who sleeps with him? Anybody who has relations with Andy No is a traitor too, frankly. He needs to go away. So the story jumped to Fox News because that's what happens. This is how it works. These obscure right-wingers like Andy Ngo become elevated into stardom by Fox News because the billionaires who fund this propaganda, that the Fox News propaganda outlet, they understand that their message has to be everywhere. Unlike, normal people, we don't have the funding because, here we are. Please become a patron will be my dying gasp. It'll probably just come out by accident. I'll just be like, please become. I'll see my grandmother in the light. I'll be like, please become a patron, Grammy. And then she'll say, no, honey, come into the light. I'll be like, thank God, finally. Do we have health care up here? I'm just kidding. Okay. Are there cats and possums? The story jumped to Fox News with Tucker Carlson replaying the obscured video, of course, blaming everyone from Antifa to Occupy ICE to the Washington Post, Maxine Waters, Hillary Clinton, all of their boogeymen, and protesters yelling at Trump officials in restaurants. Oh, the humanity. That gets more play in the corporate media than a woman being shot in the head by a fascist. Unreal. Some bug-eyed bitch gets more play because she didn't get her meal at the restaurant. Hucksterby, remember that? Oh, old googly eyes. I'm not a runway model, I know, but I'm just saying. She's just gross. Not that, whatever. Probably if she was a decent person, I would find her googly eyes endearing. And also would be nothing. You know how it is. When people are normal, you just accept and love them. But the dumbasses, the fascists, the whatever, the Google-eyed propagandists who are really gross on a spiritual level. They really deserve all they get. So Hillary Clinton, protesters yelling at Trump officials in restaurants. Carlson's guest was Andy Ngo, playing an expert on law enforcement in Portland in an affected British accent. These sick bastards. You see, it's because he hates himself and he knows he's inadequate. So he puts on a British accent to make him sound like he knows what he's doing. Because people here in America, I know JD is lucky enough not to live here. His grandmother didn't move here. Good for him. But here in this crackpot nation, British accents hold, they sound better. Sounds like you know what you're doing. So the grifter, Andy Ngo, put on a British accent. It's so embarrassing for him. It goes to show you, he knows he's a con man. He's a grifter. He's inadequate. He knows that. And that's why he has to pretend. It's like Trump. Like, oh, I'm the greatest, the best. He can't be himself because being himself is so unfit. And he knows he needs therapy. The fact is, the Republicans, idiots like Andy Ngo, they don't have the courage to seek help. So they inflict their manias on the world. And there are billionaires waiting right there to be like, yes, yes. But, they're miserable. That's one consolation we can say. They really are horrible, miserable inside. I can't imagine otherwise. Well, how can you be such a liar and a horrible person who incites violence and puts on a British accent? Because, you know, I mean, I don't sound great. I know that. I could use a better accent. Frankly. I don't sound like, you know, angels in the morning. So the Wall Street Journal gave No a platform where I remember this. It kind of escaped my mind. The leftist mob's policies in Portland. Yeah, they fired him, though, because of he's a liar. Where he admitted crucial evidence that the driver deliberately struck a protester while hyping the outrage of a mob. In other words, not journalism, propaganda, fascist propaganda, anti-American, anti-democracy, fascist propaganda aimed at getting people killed. Of angry, agitated ingrates and criminals. What are we ingrates, right? Because everything's handed to us here. That's the message. Billionaires, don't pester your betters. Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and marry a billionaire, come up with some kind of scam, and just fuck over your fellow human being until you too can be in with the in crowd and leave everybody behind. Fuck them. It's farcical. The only significant law breaking was by the driver, who could have been charged with vehicular assault. But in a city that's become an epicenter of far-right violence, the white nationalist-friendly Patriot Prayer leapt on the faux outrage and for a flash march for law and order. A week later, the march degenerated into street battles. Sort of like what used to happen with the brown shirts. One reporter said they were maced by Antifa for no reason, but it didn't end there, and these were all lies. The flash march created new viral moments. A video of a left-wing activist harassing a woman claiming to be a 9/11 widow was posted days later to the Daily Caller, another cesspool of fascist liars, which was co-founded by Tucker effing chicken murdering, sitting on a pile of money he didn't earn and doesn't appreciate, that's for sure. Carlson, inadequate little pasty-faced, plump, gross boy. He's a boy. He's not a man. The woman appears to have lied about being a 9/11 widow. Of course, sort of like Andy No's accent, they have to pretend. Like Trump pretends to be a successful businessman and a billionaire. Efforts to dox the man, hurling invective, resulted in a professional skateboarder from Portland being falsely identified and inundated with death threats. And we know that they are serious about that. Carlson credited No with publicizing the videos, the deceptive videos, the propaganda. No was a bit player, but the incident bolstered him. The incident was an example of a disturbing media model for the Trump era. Opportunists using biased reporting, social media, and wild accusations inflame vigilante and digital mobs to target enemies. And who are these enemies? Us. People working for a more perfect union that works even for the likes of the scum bottom feeder Andy No. Democracy, working for the democracy we were promised, and so many died to entrust to us. So the enemies are media, Democrats, left-wing activists. Figures like Carlson and No reap followers, prominence, and income from the outrage and threats of violence. But to keep the ratings and the money flowing, the outrage machine must be cranked even louder, risking greater violence. One political organizer in Portland who has received death threats stemming from No's work says it's an arms race for money, and the narrative isn't the point. The grift is. larger, more offensive thing you can do, the system rewards it. This appears to be No's model. He uses social media to push biased opinions in conjunction with selectively edited videos. What do you expect? That play to the bigotry of his audience. His followers get worked up, and this is often followed by a deluge of threats against his subject. And yeah, you know the rest. I can't read it. It's too long. That's from Jacobin magazine from, when was this? During Trump. Aaron Gupta, the Portland's Andy No is the most dangerous grifter in America. Let's see. What was the other thing? Let's just go through the CPAC lineup a little bit. I'm hoping to have shows, as many shows as possible, of course. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe we should do this tomorrow, the CPAC. What else do I have on the list here? Oh, and thank you, Errol Thomas, for your super chat. Why is it so difficult for Republic clowns to bring themselves into reality? Well, because reality has a liberal bias. And they've been taught that the thing that sucks about them is, and stupid about them, is that these are people who are, they want all the benefits of civilization and the society that liberals make possible, and they just don't get it. They don't want any of the responsibilities we have to each other. They don't understand. It's fascinating. Go be free. Go to the woods. Go to a desert island. Go to Liberland. At least as much as Liberland is a joke, at least they did it. Go. They put their principles into action. They didn't just sit here expecting all the benefits of civilization while whining. It's like Ayn Rand, while pulling up the ladder. Not just pulling up the ladder, but we know Ayn Rand sucked on the government teat after her filthy, I think, 3-pack a day smoking habit. She must have stunk. And her lungs were as black as her soul. And she went on Socialist Security and Medicare after spending making a career out of calling people on Socialist Security and Medicare parasites. They're parasites. Altruism is evil. That's their hero. Altruism is evil? You sound like fucking Ted Bundy. You know what I mean? That's who they remind me of. Maybe that's why I'm so fascinated with Ted Bundy now. I've been sharing about that because I watched that video. I can't get it out of my mind. It really bothers me. It bugs me out. I remember when I was a kid when he went and killed those people in the sorority house. I was a child. And I remember my parents talking about it. But I also remember, recently when I watched that Netflix Falling for a Killer, it bothered me so much because it really just thought wow, we don't really know people. What are people capable of? And also, it's so disturbing to me that there are people who find that that's something they want to do. You know what I mean? Go into a sorority house and murder people in their sleep? It's so fucked up. Why? I don't get it. It bothers me. How does that happen? How? It reminds me of Donald Trump Jr. Same thing. Why? How? How do you go and see a beautiful creature and then say, I want to kill that? Isn't that beautiful? Boom. And fucking kill it. I don't get it. So, all right. There's a couple of things. I put it on the list. One was the CPAC. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow or another night. I'm going to try to do a show tomorrow night. But the other thing, because the thing about the traitors, a.k.a. Republicans, they're rooting for Putin. And Trump, it's all over the news, called him a genius. He just wants Putin's, I guess, balls on his mouth or something. I don't know. I'm being very saucy tonight. I'm sorry. It's something. He's jealous of Putin. In fact, when I was listening to Michael Cohen's podcast, Mea Culpa, he mentioned something about Putin. It was in the conversation with Malcolm Nance that I have to thank Kenneth on the Facebook because Kenneth sends me a lot of articles. It helps. It does help. Since I'm only one person, I can't keep track. But he mentioned that I should listen to this podcast with Michael Cohen. Hold on. Something's going on with my feed. Yes. So he sent me a bunch of, he always sends me articles to read and whatnot. And one of them, he mentioned, please, listen to Michael Cohen's episode with Malcolm Nance. And in that episode, we should all listen to it. It's terrifying. Malcolm Nance is 100% correct. I love Malcolm Nance, and he's doing the work, going out there, getting on the corporate media, sounding the alarm. Like, this is not a drill. These fuckers are going to take over, and it's going to be an autocracy with a veneer of democracy, like in Hungary, like in Russia. But he said that Michael Cohen shared a story that there was something. They were watching oil tankers and on the news, and one oil tanker went one way and another went another way, and Trump said, "That's Putin's cut." And he said, "That's power. That's real power." He's salivating because he's such a petty little twit who knows how much he sucks and needs a lot of shit to, I guess, validate his existence. When I hate to tell you, Trumpy, I hope you're listening. I know you're not, but you will, all right, how do I phrase this? The world will actually breathe a sigh of relief when you're gone. And I'm not just talking about humans, the earth itself. And it really kind of extends to Republicans in general, right? Because what do they bring? What are they bringing to the planet? Are they trying to make the world a better place? Are they trying to leave it better than they found it? No, they're confused. And they're so gross and misguided that they're just shoving everything in their souls, in their excuse for souls, as if it's going to, I guess, comfort them somehow. But the thing is, it's never enough. It's never going to be enough. So they just get angrier and angrier, and then they inflict their manias outward instead of, evolving. You don't have to be the same old racist dupe of a con man your whole life. Isn't that a sad way to go through life? Being a dupe of a con man? An eager dupe at that. Willing and eager and saying, yes, more. Oh, no, I saw the fake university, the vitamin scam, the charities that were nothing but fronts. And I saw the way you stole money from dumbass supporters by automatically checking their, make this a recurring payment. Instead of, they put it in such a clever way, if you're a grifter, that you had to opt out of recurring payments instead of opting in, and most people didn't do it because it was at the bottom. They didn't pay attention, and it was also after many other. You had to scroll through it. You want to opt out? You sure you want to opt out? If you don't want to have a recurring payment, wait for it. Click here, click here, click here. Oh, okay. Click down there at the bottom. That's what they do. Yes, Irene on the chat. 7 times bankrupt billionaire. Exactly. The billionaire who has to pay off porn stars in installments. How are you a billionaire? The billionaire who's so rich, he has to, go on an allowance? The bank put him on an allowance because he wasn't, and they also, he wasn't paying the bank back. That's why he got in bed with Russian oligarchs, because he couldn't get a legitimate bank loan. He's a grifter. He's a liar. If you read Mary Trump's book, she's from inside the family, talks about it. Her father was Trump's brother, Trump's older brother, but Trump is a scumbag. And the brother, who apparently was a decent person, and that didn't work out in the Trump family. He wanted to be a pilot. He was a pilot. He used to fly for TWA, and he worked at that and loved it. But Trump used to mock him for it, calling him a glorified bus driver, because he liked what he did. He enjoyed flying planes, and they had to denigrate it because he's making good money, but he wasn't grifting in the Trump org, and Trump, asshole, was happy to step in and become his filthy, disgusting clan father, become the heir apparent. Even though the other thing was, there's so many things where how the Trumps, everything they touched, they ruined. They ruined Coney Island. It was this amazing building that they tore down. It was they were trying to declare it a landmark. Could you imagine the history? And they fucking just destroyed it. That's what Trump did. Trump's father. And he, not only did they destroy it, they had a bunch of women in bikinis come for photo ops, destroying it. This beautiful building that had artwork and character and, nothing that they have any understanding. They wanted to make ugly apartment buildings instead of something that might, increase the value of the community, attract visitors. They just suck. They are parasites in the body politic of this country, but also in the human race. Parasites sucking on it, making everything sick. Oh boy! But so they talk about the Chinese. They've said, China. You better believe when fascists, when the right wingers, when same thing, right? When the Fox News fascists are beating that China drum, and when Trump is doing the same, you better believe that they're doing it as a distraction. Don't look there. Don't look here. We hate China. They're in bed with all of the Chinese rich, oligarchs and whatnot. In fact, where is this one thing? There's a few. It's a game. The thing about the Trump, the morons, they're like McGruff the crime dog, apparently, for fake pedophile rings in the basement of pizzerias that don't have basements. And they don't see the oldest grift right in front of their stupid, beady eyes. God, I guess it's kind of like denial. They don't want to be the suckers, but they are. They'd rather be racists. And they are. Oh, that's one of the things on the CPAC. Get ready to, what is it called? Get ready to be called a racist. Honey, you're a racist. We call you racist because you are. It's not because we can't come up with another word. It's your opportunity to take a look at yourself. You know, if everybody's like, you're a racist, you might think I got some work to do. You know what I mean? If they call you a racist, one person calls you a racist, okay. 2 people, you're like, 3 people call you a racist. Maybe you're a friggin' racist. It's not just an attack, it's an opportunity for you to change. Be an adult. Be a normal person capable of functioning in a democracy. Do the work. If you're a racist, you have these bigoted views because you never got at 5 miles out of wherever you were born in some shithole in Mitch McConnell's district. Okay. Get out of the meth lab. Go visit. Go. Read a book. Read. Go on the internet. There's free books. You can't afford it. Go on the government R&D created socialist internets. Again, that's the other thing. I hate them. Everything about them. They're on sucking up all the socialism, and they don't even have the manners or the maturity to say thank you. Say, yeah, you're right. At least the Unabomber or whatever moved his ass to the woods. Do that. Go. You don't like our reindeer games? You don't like being having expectations of decency put upon you? Get the fuck out. Go. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to send your little brat to school. Go to the woods like the Wilderness Family. And you can teach your little brat that Jesus rode a dinosaur. And no internet. Make your own internet. Make it yourself. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and make your internet. Right? Make your own roads. Inspect your own food. Inspect your own water. Dig your own well. Don't suck on our socialist pipes. Don't eat the food from our socialist FDA inspected food. Even though Trump fucked with that too. We know that, okay? Trump made it so it was... I wonder what Joe Biden did with that. I can't take it. He should roll everything back. Because Trump reduced the number of FDA inspectors on the line from 6. The slaughter line when they're killing. You got to kill without mercy like we did in the National Guard. They have to... They took it from 6 to 0. So when and they also sped up the line, which is also, it's inhumane on top of being inhumane. Because when the poor creature, pigs who are smarter than dogs, see that death is coming their way, they'd shit themselves like any creature would. And that's what, that's what you're eating. But he allowed shit. More shit, more toenails, more parts that human beings can't digest, like penises, vulvas, toenails. All of that was not allowed into the meat. And Trump made it so the FDA inspector wasn't there to ensure that things were going humanely, decently, and with hygiene. So now the slaughter fuckers the FDA calls, hey, any pig penises and shit in your corpses today? No, not at all. Okay, great. I'll call you tomorrow. Thanks, Trump. Well, he literally said, eat shit, America. Eat shit. Not only did he say it, he enabled it. That's how much he loves you. That's how much he cares. Isn't that amazing? I wonder if the King David they love to talk about made his subjects eat shit. God. All right. Well, you know what? We'll do this tomorrow. I'm losing my voice. And it's 11. And I need to get unconscious and pretend I live in a country where you can save $400. Yes. Is that true? Yes. Look it up. Let me see. I'll get the... I talked about that back in the day. Let's see. Trump, FDA. I'll look up feces and toenails. We'll see what comes up. Yeah, there we go. Right at the top. Under Trump rule, where is it? Here, Food and Waterwatch.org. USDA is removing safeguards on the food while everyone else is fighting a pandemic. Yeah, here's another one. The inspectors themselves blew the whistle. Inspectors warn unsafe pork could make its way into consumers under the Trump rule change. America's food inspectors are warning that unsafe pork is likely to make it to consumers under a change in rules for meat inspection. That change is now set to roll out nationwide. It was done, but I don't know if Joe Biden rolled it back. He hasn't rolled it. Well, why is DeJoy still in office? So he says in nationwide plants that process more than 90% of the pork Americans eat, the consumers are being duped. Food safety inspectors Jill Maurer told NBC News they believe that it is actually getting federally inspected when there's no one even there to watch or do anything about it. It's so hard to go to work without feeling physically sick watching this happen. And that's how patriots feel. Now, I hate to be this person that has to do this. But frankly, whatever. I don't eat corpses, whatever. But people do. There's somebody there who is doing their patriotic duty to make sure in a country that is civilized, where we care for each other, we look out for each other, that when you eat the food, you're not going to get sick. It's, not going to get parasites. And even as horrible hypocrites as we are, the animals giving their lives, their very lives for human sustenance, are treated with some level, very small level of respect. That drives me crazy. So it's hard to go to work without feeling physically sick and watching this happen, unfolding right in front of you, said Inspector Anthony Fallone, especially since you took an oath to protect the American people. So it's not just a job anybody be like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. And after I drive my Uber, these are trained people. They take an oath to the American people. Jesus Christ. Well, what are you? Oath, schmoth. Maurer and Vallone have both filed whistleblower disclosure forms with the Office of Special Counsel about their concerns, but this is the first time they've spoken publicly. NBC News has spoken to 5 inspectors in person, over the phone, and via email about this program, which eligible pork plants will soon be able to adopt under a change in the U.S. Department of Agriculture rules known as the new Swine Inspection Service or system. In traditional plants, as many as 7 federal inspectors work the processing line, the murder line, handling hog carcasses and checking for defects. Under this new system, that number will be reduced to 2. Oh, well, I thought there were other articles I read saying that all the federal inspectors were removed. But, okay, we'll see. Maybe this was the first pass. So, federal inspectors who have more experience but will have limited hand-on interaction with the carcasses. Instead, the plant's own employees will be checking and sorting the hog carcasses and letting the federal inspectors know from a distance. There's no required federal training for these employees. And finally, the federal limit on the line speed of the slaughter, which at the rate, or the rate at which the hog carcasses can be moved for processing, murder, will be removed. So make it faster, 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 faster. Kill, 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 kill. Keep killing. What does that do to a person? Or the poor animal. It's dehumanizing and disgusting. But that's Trump in a nutshell. That's the whole fucking right wing. A pilot program for this process, blah, 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 blah. If it continues across the nation, when you open your package of meat, what you're gonna see, what you're going to get for a pathogen is going to be a mystery, one inspector said. Potential defects, according to Maurer, include feces, sex organs, toenails, bladders, and hair. She and other inspectors claim plant employees with little experience are doing minimal checking and sorting in an effort to maintain line speeds to keep the plant owners happy. More death. Like, Chicken Boy. Kill, 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 kill. Faster, faster. It's more money for them, There's no decency involved. It's just boom, boom, more, more, more. But it's not money for the people, spread the wealth. It's money for the top. The people are getting fucked. And now we know with the pandemic, this was before the pandemic, people who worked in food slaughterhouses were dropping left and right, and Trump ordered them back to work. They couldn't take time. They couldn't, there's no safety. Yeah, who cares? Go die. And like I said, if it were up to right wingers, they throw them right into the slaughter line with the pigs. Oh, you dead? Right in there. In you go. That's all you are. That's why it makes me sick, the way we treat animals in factory farms, because we're just one level removed, one level up. It's like the indentured servants and the enslaved in the 1600s. That's the game. So, okay. Slaughter, 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 slaughter. The way we treat them, that's how they treat us. And not the animals. That's what they think of us. Jesus Christ. But the right-wingers, that's freedom to shove carcasses in their mouths as fast as they can. Fuck them. And don't think about anything. Just keep shoving shit in your face until you can't shove anymore. God, anyway. All right. Now that I've gotten you all sick to your stomachs. Guys, yes, it's true. Just watch how, Nikki on the chat, just watch how every week there are food recalls. Exactly. And another article I read, one of the food inspectors said, you will get sick. You will not know it, that it came from whatever you ate, but that's what it came from. Because we can't digest toenails. We can't digest certain parts. Not like, cats. That's why they use that stuff for like cat and dog food, because they can digest it. We aren't. We evolved not in a different direction. I don't think anybody should eat it at all. But there you go. Yes. All right, guys. Guys, thank you for hanging out. This was therapy for the resistance. I don't know. There was a lot of cursing involved tonight. Maybe tomorrow it'll be more professional. No, it won't. There's a cat up there. Look at him. And I want to say again, thank you, Richard W. and JD and Mark C. and River again. Thank you so much, River. And Robin M. and Errol Thomas. Thank you so much for your super chats. If anybody wants, I don't know, likes the show or wants to keep it going, likes Therapy for the Resistance, hanging out, if you can become a patron, please do at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. And if you can't, just keep coming. Yeah, what? Toenail cat food? No, I don't know if it's toenails in there, but, you know, like sinew and shit. That's what they use. They use the byproducts. But, okay. I don't like talking about it. It upsets me. My opinion, and I believe this to be true in the future, not in my lifetime, not in yours, or in many years, maybe 1,000 years from now, if human beings make it, I believe that we won't be eating meat. And that people will look back, or eating animals, and people will look back and say, can you believe they used to have factory farms? Yeah, I believe that. And I think that's what has to happen, frankly, for us to spiritually evolve. We have to respect we have to respect life. Oh, what about the babies? We do respect life. That's why we vote Democratic. It's not just about birth. And like I said, if you don't like abortion, vote Democratic. Don't ask, but just look it up. Abortion rates go down under universal health care, higher education, and living wages. Because actually, being able to afford bringing a pregnancy to term has a lot to do with it. So if you don't like abortion, then, vote Democratic. Because all that Republicans do are not only it does not lower the rate of abortion, making it illegal, and we will find this out again when the Republicans on the illegitimate Supreme Court roll back our privacy rights. And that's what they're going to do. So we'll find out again, because we will find people dead in hotel rooms, and that's what was going on in the right before Roe v. Wade. Women they had enough of it, sick of it. Sick of finding women, female corpses in the so-called back alleys, which would happen all the time. So making abortion illegal never lowers the abortion rate. All it does is kill women. So, I don't know why Democrats find that so hard to say and repeat when they talk about pro-life. When Republicans say they're pro-life, the only response is laughter. Why don't they listen to this show and become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin? I don't know. All right, guys, listen up. Guys, what the hell? I gotta go lay down. Maybe tomorrow I'll stand up. I've been sitting down a lot on the show. Sitting down on the job. But, here comes the producer. I know, the show's over, right? Show's over, producer? I know. He's so good. He's a good boy. Oh, you know what I'll do? Where's that? I'll put that video link in the chat. Let me find it. The opossum. I was just watching that. Let me look in my history so you guys can see how cute. It was from the dodo. Opossum. Here we go. It's so cute. It's called Possum. Possum covers his mom's face in kisses. It's the cutest thing. And the little baby opossum. Yes, you're cuter and better, and you use your toilet train too, so I appreciate that. That's what I was wondering, where the opossum goes to the bathroom. Do they train? They must train it to use the litter or something. So there's the opossum. I have to send that to Mark, our millennial correspondent. All right, honey. Show's over. I know. Here, wait. Here's the opossum. Possum? Is that how you spell it? Get your opossum on. All right, my friends, listen up. My name is Tara Devlin. This is Tara Jr., the producer. That's right, honey. And we will win. That's true. Because not only are we on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, and humanity, they know we'll win. That's why they have to lie and pretend they're us and fake videos and pretend they love democracy when they hate it. So, well, what did I say? We stick together. We win. You too, honey. My name is Tara Devlin, and I will do my best to see you tomorrow night. Oh, honey, just relax.